FIVEaa.
Partly cloudy, 23 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact premierpanel.com.au. RAA approved crash repairer.
It's a short week for students at Brighton High School. It will close temporarily from tomorrow as COVID wreaks havoc on staff numbers. The school will reopen next Tuesday. New modelling predicts SA's current COVID wave could already be here. Authorities are now expecting daily cases to peak at 5,500, well below the 8,000 initially predicted. Premier Peter Malinauskas says hospital numbers will also be less than first thought.
200 hospitalisations because of COVID is still a big number. I mean, 100 is a big number. We would like to see this be a lot smaller than what it is.
Peter Malinauskas will address the National Press Club today. The new Premier will discuss Labor policy after his landslide win in last month's state election. Meantime, the Prime Minister's movements are being watched. He could call the federal election as early as today. Labor is poised to snatch at least 2 South Australian seats in the upcoming federal election. That's according to a new poll from the Australian Institute. It shows Labor has 57% of the two-party preferred vote in Boothby, while Labor also pulls ahead in the eastern suburbs seat of Sturt with 52% of the two-party preferred vote. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has given a fiery address detailing the atrocities Russian forces have committed in his country. US correspondent Alison Petrowski reports.
President Zelensky likened Russia to ISIS and said they were committing war crimes akin to that of the Nazis in World War II, calling on the Security Council to remove Russia's right to veto. The Ukrainian leader also gave confronting details about the atrocities committed in Bucha, saying some civilians appeared to be executed, gunned down in their own homes.
The civilians were crushed by tanks while sitting in their cars in the middle of the road, just for their pleasure.
The UN representative for China said while his country supports an investigation into what unfolded in the town, he warned not to rush judgment. Meantime, the White House will introduce further sanctions against Russia tomorrow in coordination with European Union and G7 leaders.
Australia is partnering with the US and UK militaries to develop hypersonic missiles as part of the AUKUS pact between the nations. The Trilateral Alliance has announced new cooperation on electronic warfare capabilities. The countries will work together in developing future missiles, which travel at more than 5 times the speed of sound. And not only is billionaire Elon Musk now Twitter's largest outside shareholder, he's also joined its board of directors. Now to FIVEaa Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Brisbane's Emily Bates has taken out the AFLW's top award, winning the best and fairest for the league in 2022. The 26-year-old polled 3 votes in the final round to beat Adelaide's Anne Hatchard by a single vote. And she says it came as a real shock.
I never expected this. I know my name was getting thrown around a little bit, but that was a shock to me. And this is just obviously the greatest honour you could ever receive. So I'm just really proud and, in shock but happy. Yeah, good stuff. Audio there thanks to Fox. 4 Crows made the All-Australian team with Hatchard making it along with Evity Marinoff, Sarah Allen and Ashley Woodland. Well, Australia has finished its tour of Pakistan with a win, claiming the standalone T20 match in Lahore by 3 wickets. Under pressure captain Aaron Finch top scored with 55 off 45 balls, while Nathan Ellis picked up 4 wickets. Meantime, the women's cricket team is back on home soil following a flawless World Cup campaign in New Zealand. Well, there's about 15 minutes to play in European Champions League action this morning. Liverpool currently 2-1 up against Benfica, and Manchester City has just gone 1-0 up against Atletico Madrid. And 5-time champion Tiger Woods has declared he's going to play at the US Masters. That is a significant story, Mel. That is the FIVEaa Sport.
I know you are so excited about that. Now the FIVEaa forecast.
When glass breaks, call the experts at O'Brien. O'Brien.
Partly cloudy today, heading for a top of 23. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 24. Friday, mostly sunny, 26. And Saturday, up to 27. Right now, it's 15 degrees. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
Help create a home for South Australians impacted by cancer. Visit 202greenhill.com.au.
You're listening to FIVEaa Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5 minutes after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on FIVEaa Breakfast. Coming up on the program this morning, Greens leader Adam Bandt is in town. They are the unlikely potential heroes of the car industry in South Australia. They're announcing a big auto manufacturing plan for SA. We'll speak to him about that after 6:30 today. After 7, Chief Public Health Officer Professor Nicholas Spurrier will be on the program. They released updated modelling yesterday about peak caseloads, peak adult hospital ward occupancy. I got to say, it's actually a good news story. Every time your eyes glaze over sometimes when this data comes out, but we'll go through it shortly because some of it is actually significantly better than I possibly could have ever imagined. So we'll talk about that. Sean Fuster will join us. We'll go around the courts. Vaccine mandates are the topic of conversation in that segment with Denny Van Hagen's case set to go to court today and a little bit later in the morning as well. Really great local initiative to look after the people that are having to flee Ukraine at the moment. We'll tell you how you can get involved. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, folks. I am still in the house awaiting my PCR results from SA Health. I'm sure that they will come through without any hassles, but that's the reason that yet again we are, what is it now, 7 days in a row, grappling with technology. But yeah, I did a rat last night, tested negative, and it's been a living demonstration of that great interview we did yesterday, Will, with the doctor just before 8:30 about the vagaries of how the virus works. Some people get it, some people don't. It looks like I've dodged it again.
How is everyone else in the household bearing up? How's Kate going?
They're all right. Yeah, she's all right. She's all right. You know, it's not fun, but
yep.
It's not the Ebola virus either. So yeah, but she's doing well. Yeah. The kids are in rude health. I think the main risk for them is they're just going to end up, climbing up the walls completely. It's very hard when they're that young to control them. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the interview with Professor Spurrier. The numbers are I mean, it's a differential of about 3,000 on what was projected. They were saying that Adelaide Uni modelling a few weeks ago was saying that the cases were going to hit like 8,000 or even as much as 9. But now they're saying, what, about 5,500?
Yeah, it doesn't get to 6,000. But I actually think everyone will run with the story about what the peak is and when it's going to happen because it's the sensational bit. I encourage everyone to go on the SA Health website and have a look at the data because it's there and it's available and you can look at it. It's pretty easy to digest, couple of graphs. Just look forward 6 weeks. It's just 6 weeks, May 31. Yeah. We have the same level of COVID cases per day as we had back when we were locked out as a state, effectively, in early December, late November. It's hard that the actual scale of the graph doesn't let you know precisely, but it looks to me like it's under 200 cases a day, maybe even a little bit less than that. That's 6 weeks away. A lot of people have exclaimed repeatedly, when does this damn thing end? When do we get out of this cycle of living where every excursion outside the home feels like a risk? Well, 6 weeks, according to SA Health's data. And look, recent history has taught us that they tend to overestimate. The revisions are always downward. Every time we get new analysis out about where we're going to be case-wise and hospital ward occupancy-wise and all that kind of stuff, it turns out our previous analysis over-egged it. It erred on the side of caution. So if this is doing that again, my word, we're closer to normality and not knowing anyone with COVID than anyone possibly realises, I think. I want to speak to Dr. Spurrier about whether there's potential for other peaks into the future, and that all that represents is the fact that so many people have had it in a short span of time that we'll go through a 12-week period that's magnificent. But I tell you, you want a good news story this morning, look at the back end of that graph. It's a good one.
Absolutely, yeah. It was heartening reading it last night. And I think the point you made in passing, Will, it's about time the media got a bit more mature and a bit less hysterical on the way some of this stuff is still being reported. I mean, I made a reference to Norman Swan, the self-styled medical expert on the ABC, and hearing the manner in which some of the most alarmist scenarios seem to be almost deliberately cherry-picked in order to get a hysterical headline. I mean, I even saw the other day when that was utterly tragic story when that little child died here in Adelaide. And it was presented as a COVID death. Now, I know for the statistical purposes it was, but that poor kid was on palliative care.
Yeah.
Like, and if you, most people only read headlines. You know, I know that from all the research that we used to have at news.com. Like, most people just look at the homepage and keep hitting refresh on it.
Mm.
And the headline on that article said, you know, COVID kills infant. And it was like, well, yeah, technically. But how is it that a child that's on a palliative care plan
Yeah.
that is being managed towards the utterly tragic end of its life, that can be reported as a COVID death? It's just beyond me.
Well, yeah, it's one of the many things we've learned. But what amounts to best accounting practice in health doesn't amount to best communications practice in reality, does it? So
No, that's right.
And that's one of the many things we've learned. Lots of texts already coming through on this front on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. Brenton says all this shows is SA data has always been wrong and based more on just in case. They have erred on the side of caution. There's no doubt about that. And I reckon we'll put those questions to Dr. Spira after 7 o'clock today. I suspect she'll say, "Yeah, well, good. That's the point. We wanted to look at what the worst case scenario was and do better than that, and we have." And we're not going to apologise for it. I'm guessing that'll be what she has to say about that. Someone else has described it as the fear modelling and said, "Has it ever been correct?"
Well, the scale of it has been the issue. Whether it's correct or not, the patterns and the waves have been correct.
Mm.
It's just the size of them hasn't been correct. And that goes to your point about how it's not the job of science to go, well, you know, surely it won't be that bad. Let's dial it down a bit. I mean, you know, you don't want the sort of backyard DIY approach being taken to something like pandemic management, where you go, you know, I didn't read the instructions.
What do they say about backyard DIY? Measure twice, cut once. It's the only thing I know. It's the only thing I know.
No, all the good tradies say that.
It's 12 after 6. 8223 0000 is the number. You can text us on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line 044808 1395 is the number. Wally the Walnut says, guys, you playing dodgeball, Pembo, or are you just getting lucky? All the best to you and the family.
Well, thanks, Wally.
You might have the right, according to our professor yesterday, the genetic makeup that means. Would you feel robbed if you learn after the fact you were always immune this whole time?
Can you be?
I don't know. No,
surely you can't.
No, not as far as we know right now. But what was if after the fact they establish in a few years' time? Oh, David, you and about a handful of other people could have been out going to bands and stuff this entire time.
Maybe. Could have had our own little private.
Yeah, could have had your own island
at the Governor Hindmarsh for the last 2 years.
13 minutes after 6, we're going to take a break. News headlines coming up in a moment.
What starts with A and ends with E? Supplements for you and me.
FIVEaa health supplements are now available at leading chemists and health food stores nationwide. Ask for FIVEaa at your favourite pharmacy.
FIVEaa.
Thanks Frydenberg and ScoMo for the $250. That works out to $1.60 a week over the next 3 years. Tell them they're dreaming. Vote 1, United Australia Party. Authorised by Clive Palmer for the United Australia Party, Brisbane.
Charmin shelving. Are we going to talk about Charmin shelving today? Well, I certainly hope so.
You better believe
it. I've been spending quite a bit of time with my beloved Charmin shelf over the past week at home. So ask yourself this question. Have you got a space in your shed, your workshop or around the home that is begging to become storage space?
Well, if you do, get on to Charmin Shelving because they love turning any space into a storage space and they'll make it look good too.
They certainly will. Bill or Christine, they'll come to your home, your office, your workshop or your shed to measure up, then design, deliver and assemble the perfect storage solution in a great range of colours.
So goodbye space, hello storage space. You won't have to lift a finger either. It's all done for you. Just the only finger lifting required is the finger to point. Where do you want your Charmin shelf? Over there, Bill or Christine. Thank you very much.
That's right. When it comes to storage solutions, everybody needs a little Charmin in their life. Call into the showroom at 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens. Visit charminshelving.com.au or take a look on Facebook.
It's value the Australian way this Easter at Coles. And to help make your Easter shopping easier, we've added thousands of extra home delivery windows and thousands of extra click and collect windows. Shop online at coles.com.au.
For over 38 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth a trip. And right now, Steinborners are the place to go for top dollar on your trade-in. They will do any trade, and this month they're offering a further $1,500 bonus on all trade-ins. So go out to one of Steinborner's 8 locations for Hyundai, Mitsubishi, Ford and SA's best range of used cars. View all their used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth a trip.
You don't have to jump on a plane to find pals from around the world, or even leave the airport. Powerfield Airport Liquor Store has thousands of pals in a huge old airport hangar. So maybe their pals are whiskies from Scotland, Ireland and Japan, but that's just some of their pals. With over 300 craft beers, 500 whiskies and over 2,000 wines. New pals from around the world are closer than you think. Powerfield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Powerfield.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Visit 202greenhill.com.au and donate to cancer accommodation, research, prevention and support this April.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
16 minutes after 6. Big good morning to everyone who's up early and watching on the 5AA Facebook or YouTube live stream. Proudly partnering with Cancer Council SA. Jump on board. You can interact with the program that way as well by leaving a comment, or you can shoot us a text on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line 0448 08 1395. News headlines time on this Wednesday morning. A man has died after his truck crashed down an embankment and flipped onto rocks on Kangaroo Island. The incident happened just after 8 a.m. yesterday on Christmas Street near Penneshaw. The driver, a 27-year-old man from Kangaroo Island, died at the scene. It takes the state's road toll to 22 lives lost this year compared to 33 at this time last year.
It's been a sad story for the wine industry, that one. He was carrying a large, a huge road train filled with grapes from False Cape Wines, I believe. But, I mean, a place this population of KI, what is it, 4,000 people, barely 4,000 people. Any tragedy like that is sort of amplified because it's so tight-knit.
Victorian detectives have arrested a South Australian man wanted for attempted murder. The 23-year-old was arrested yesterday in Epping, north of Melbourne. It comes after a brawl at a CBD hotel on the 13th of March where victims were stabbed or assaulted with weapons. The man's expected to be extradited to South Australia. Australia, the US and UK have struck a deal to develop hypersonic missiles in a move indicating the arms race is heating up. The missiles can travel at least 5 times the speed of sound, and the agreement has been reached under the AUKUS Pact. Maybe they heard us talking yesterday when we spoke about defence announcements in the federal government.
Yeah, keep it up.
Keep it. They run well. It's a good environment for these kind of things.
Hey, we'd better pull back on that kind of talk with Adam Bant coming on the show in about 20 minutes.
You reckon he wouldn't approve?
Oh no, he wouldn't approve. They've got a pair of warmongers.
It was more of a comment on communication strategy at the time, wasn't it? We'll say that was more an effective thing to be selling ahead of an election. Yeah. We weren't passing judgment on, war.
Go Duts.
No. Our analysis didn't reach that depth.
No, that's right.
A new poll from the Australian Institute shows Labor is storming ahead in at least 2 South Australian seats ahead of the federal election. The LP has 57% of the two-party preferred vote in Boothby and 52% in Sturt. The environment, of course, shaping up as a crucial election issue in both seats.
There's a big asterisk over this poll, and that is that the people who run it are the most rabidly sort of left wing.
Oh well,
and some of the questions look like the most obvious case of push polling, almost along the lines of: so you ring everyone in Marion and Mitchell Park and Plimpton and so forth in Boothby, and you say to them, "How concerned are you about the takeover of the Murray-Darling Basin plan by the faceless men of the National Party and Barnaby Joyce? Are you A, not concerned at all? 10, really, really, really concerned?" The way it's framed looks skewed to get that outcome.
The red flag for mine was the one that that 3/4 of people said they were really concerned about drilling for oil in the Great Australian Bight, and I'm sorry. You could roll up to 100 people in Boothby, and if you don't mention oil or drilling and ask them what they're basing their vote around in this election, you're not going to hear a single soul mention oil drilling.
Especially when it's been banned anyway, hasn't it?
That's right.
Like, it's not even happening.
It's not even. It's so far off the agenda. I could.
Are you concerned about the annual baby fur seal cull in Ardrossan?
Yeah.
Well, no, because that doesn't happen.
Passengers have had to jump off a Rex Airlines plane at Melbourne Airport. The twin-engine turboprop experienced engine issues on takeoff. Pamela was on the flight and says, and this is difficult, there were no stairs available to evacuate.
Well, we going to take off, and then we stopped, and then we were told to get off and jump off the plane.
Jump off? It's a long way up, even a little plane.
Yeah.
No stairs.
I'll say.
No fun at all.
What, 2 metres, you'd think?
Yeah.
It depends on the plane, maybe not that high. Because wrecked planes tend to be smaller. That's still not the ideal exit.
But if you jumped as an adult, it's not fun. What's the biggest, furthest you've jumped as an adult? Like, since you were a little kid when, 2 metres was nothing. Things aren't meant to compress together quickly. But beyond the age of about 30, I reckon. After that point, the whole idea of falling rapidly and landing isn't fun.
No, that's true. And Pamela didn't sound like a total spring chicken, did she?
No, she didn't. It's 15.2 degrees outside at the moment. Top of 23 today. 24 on Thursday. We'll get to 26 on Friday. Saturday we'll get to 27, 28 on Sunday. We had a bit of rain about the place yesterday as well. 5 mils, in fact. The forecast was up to 2, but we got to 5. So the highest rainfall in the metro area. Coromandel East had 11 mils of rain. Old Noongar had 9.8, Marion got 8, Woodside 7, Morfett Vale 6.8, Keswick 6.4, 6.2 at the airport. The average rainfall for the month is 43.9, so we got a fair whack of that on the 5th yesterday. We only got 16.8 mils in April last year, so a third of everything we got last year we got yesterday on a day when it wasn't really forecast. So
it was beautiful rain. It didn't stop raining here. It was never got heavy. It was the kind of rain you could walk in. Like you could go outside. I was, tidying the house, putting stuff in the yellow bin, walking down the side of the house, and you didn't get wet. But equally, it didn't stop.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, it was nice. Text coming through on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line 044808 1395. Jane wants us to ask Professor Spurrier about the new variant that's coming out. We'll do that. We'll certainly do that, Jane, after 7 o'clock. Phil says COVID modelling numbers. 3 words. Abundance of caution. I think that's right. I think they've been led by those 3 words, as we all have. 22 after 6. We're going to take a break. Tom Wren's coming up in just a moment.
Hurry into Beaumont's huge DIY sale. Refresh your kitchen splashback for under $100. Update your outdoor pavers with 20% off and grab up to 60% off Manager's Easter specials. In-store only at your local Beaumont Tiles.
Priceline Pharmacy's 3-day sale is on now. Save 40% on hair care. Plus, half-price selected vitamins. Hurry, ends Thursday. Terms and conditions apply. Priceline, a festival of you.
Now, this is a serious issue for some women, is the need to go to the toilet all the time making your life miserable. Do you sometimes feel like your entire day revolves around your bladder? Well, if this sounds like you, Caruso's Wee Less may help. Caruso's Wee Less is a therapeutic bladder health supplement with a unique blend of herbs and magnesium. It helps relieve the annoying and inconvenient feeling that you need to go to the bathroom too often. It also supports bladder health and function and helps reduce the urinary incontinence and urgency associated with a medically diagnosed overactive bladder. So if you want to help control the urge and regain your bladder confidence, try Caruso's Wee Less today. It's made in Australia, comes with a money-back guarantee and is available from leading pharmacies and health food stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. If symptoms persist, see your healthcare professional.
The Nissan Juke comes with Apple CarPlay and a 5-year warranty as standard. Plus, low weekly repayments when you finance with Nissan Future Value. Test drive the Nissan Juke today. Approved private Nabian applicants only. T's and C's apply.
Creating the perfect home for your family? Learn from Spartan Electrical, family owned for 50 years. Spartan Electrical's appliance experts can help you select from the best brands for your kitchen, laundry or outdoor area. Sinks, taps and wine cabinets, bar fridges, barbecues and full alfresco kitchens. Time-saving technology in the laundry, all personally delivered to your home. Get inspired for your family. Visit a Spartan Electrical showroom today in Campbelltown or Torrensville.
You can't go past IGA for hundreds of weekly specials right across the store. Like Wrigley's Extra Gum 64-gram selected varieties, only $3.50 each. Now at IGA. Offer ends April 12. Participating stores only. Excludes local grocer and Foodland.
There's something you should know about SportsMed. We don't just provide knee, hip and shoulder care to elite athletes. Every day, we treat patients who simply want to get play with the kids fit. brisk walk fit or gardening fit. And having our clinic, hospital and specialists all based together at Stepney makes getting care for your joint pain and injuries, from diagnosis to rehabilitation, even easier. So get back to doing what you love. Speak with your GP for a referral. sportsmed.com.au.
Seen the new quick and easy recipes at pork.com.au yet? I have. It's how I turned Sanchoy Bao into pork Sanchoy Wow. There's so many other recipes too. Because as they say, dinner winners are easy when there's pork on your fork.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
Help create a home for South Australians impacted by cancer. Visit 202greenhill.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
26 after 6, Adam Bant coming up very shortly, the Greens leader. I want to talk about Elon Musk's wealth as well. We might do that before 7 o'clock today. He's not just the richest man in the world. He's the richest by that far. It doesn't matter right now. We'll talk about that. But first, let's talk about the wonderful world of sport. Tom Brennan, the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. Thanks to the excellent people at Mitsubishi, where the all-new 2022 Outlander is available with 10-year warranty, 10 years cap price servicing. That's Agostino Mitsubishi. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Look, we'll start with a bit of footy quickly. The AFLW individual top award was last night. Well done to Emily Bates. I thought she spoke beautifully after winning. She needed 3 votes in the final round. She got it. Fairy tale for her. Disappointing for Anne Hatchard. That meant she missed out from the Crows. But she's got bigger fish to fry, and maybe she can use that as fuel for this weekend. And she was still one of 4 Crows that made the All-Australian side. Ebony Marinoff also in there, Sarah Allen and Ashley Woodland. So congratulations to those 4 Crows women making the All-Australian side. I thought that was really good, and well done to Emily Bates, who missed out in the prelim last week. Spoke about the fact her father passed away when she was 15, and you know how much it would have meant to him. Her mum was there and was bawling her eyes out. It was really nice stuff. And probably the moment of the night was when Craig Starcevich, the coach, she said, I heard he was going to do a shoey if I won the award, and he did it right there and then, as she said it.
It's unbelievable.
So that was
one day after we were saying how repulsive she was out on the show.
I know.
He obviously was
not
a listener.
Hey, Tom, I watched the count. Jim and I stayed up and watched the count. I thought it was really riveting television.
It was good. It was great.
It literally came down to the last game.
Yeah.
But in the penultimate game, if not for the fact that Ebony Rabinoff had polled 3, because Anne Hatchard polled 2, Anne Hatchard would have been a tie if Anne had got the 3 votes. But they spent the entire night, those 2 girls, taking votes off each other, which is actually a bit of a credit to the collective team. That helps explain why they're about to play in their 4th grand final in 6 years.
Exactly. Yeah. No, and that was probably the issue. They kept taking votes off each other, which hurt them. But I mean, it is the reason why the Crows are in the position they're in at the moment. And I think Hatchard is going to be a very, very good player for a long time, as is Marinoff, and has been from the start. The other news this morning, fellas, that I wanted to touch on is it now looks like Tiger Woods is going to play.
This is unbelievable.
Incredible.
They almost took his leg off.
Yeah.
I remember when we reported it on the program, when the crash happened, A and B, when they pulled him out, the first analysis from any surgeon was, well, he's not playing again. In fact, he'll be lucky to walk again. It's 14 months later.
And this is the issue for him. So he's going to play. It's not so much the golf shots that are causing him the issues, but it's the walking around.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to have a cart. Now, you and I are when we play, but that is not at professional level.
Yep.
You have to be able to get around. So that's going to be taxing, but like the golfing Twitter world...
Can't they give him permission for one? I mean, isn't that almost like a form of prejudice against someone with a disability?
Yeah, look, I guess maybe, but I think that's just part of the...
I've always found sports a prejudice against the lack of ability.
Yeah. I think we touched on it. I think we touched on it, Pembo. I know you've been to Pebble Beach and played, but this is a bucket list item for me. Where does it sit for you boys? Is it number 1?
No, I'm not a huge golf person, but there's something, the romance of Augusta and the $1.50 sandwiches and the whole experience is something that I'd do it, 100%. I'd absolutely love to do it.
What's the $1.50 sandwich?
they sell sandwiches there, and it's the same price that it was from 30, 40 years ago. Once you're in there,
beers are like $3.
Yeah, it's all tradition.
Yeah, they don't change it because that's just the way it's always been.
Oh, really?
Apparently, it's like walking in a time machine. You go through the gates, and you're in a different era.
And the thing is,
where even is it? Where is Augusta?
Is
in
it
Georgia?
Georgia, yeah.
Yeah. Have you been there, Tom?
No, I haven't. No, I've got to go. I love it. And like Will said, there's just something magical about it. And this year, we've got a very real chance of having an Australian champion. There's 91 participants, 6 Aussies. Cameron Smith's the one. I mean, he can win it. He's got the best short game in the world at the moment by some distance.
Right.
His wedge play and his putting is phenomenal. If he brings anything close to that, he's a huge chance.
I'm getting excited.
I'm excited.
Randy, you've got a magical ability to make everyone excited about anything, and I suddenly feel excited about the Masters. Good on you.
Thanks, boys.
Tom Wren, thanks to
Tom.
Agostino Mitsubishi, all new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years cap price servicing.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 23 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact Premier Panel Services at premierpanel.com.au.
COVID is continuing to hit schools hard. Brighton High will shut up shop tomorrow. Remote learning will take place for 3 days to cover staff shortages caused by the virus. SA may have already reached the peak of its current COVID wave. New modelling shows a high of 5,500 cases, a number we recorded last week. Initial modelling predicted case numbers would soar to 8,000. Peter Malinauskas will be on the national stage today. Just 2 weeks into his new job as Premier, he's addressing the National Press Club. Meantime, the Prime Minister's movements are being watched. He could call the federal election as early as today. The Court of Appeal has overturned a challenge to the PM's move to appoint a panel to pre-select candidates in 3 seats. Scott Morrison says he intervened because he was worried about female members of his team whose positions were under threat from factional groups.
When that process on this occasion was not getting that outcome, I thought it was really important. See, I'm asked all the time, Lee, why wasn't the Prime Minister do more about getting good women in Parliament and stand up for the women in Parliament? See, I stood up for the women in my team.
That audio thanks to the ABC. Labor is storming ahead in at least 2 SA seats ahead of the federal election, according to a new poll from the Australian Institute. The ALP has 57% of the two-party preferred vote in Boothby and 52% in Sturt. The environment shaping as a crucial election issue in both seats. Russia maintains it hasn't carried out war crimes in Ukraine after images emerged of civilian killings in Bucha. Its ambassador to the UN has told the Security Council there are flagrant inconsistencies in reports seen in Ukraine and the West. Vasily Nebrenza says footage of dead bodies in the street is fake.
And the fact that the corpses on the video in no way resemble those that could have been lying on the street for 3 or 4 days. And based on the sensational and completely scientifically absurd information of the New York Times, they were there since the 20th of March.
Barack Obama has returned to the White House to mark the 12th anniversary of the Affordable Care Act health law, which he enacted. President Joe Biden paying tribute to the former Commander-in-Chief as he expands coverage under the Act.
It's fitting that the first time you return to the White House is to celebrate a law that's transforming millions of lives because of you. Let's be honest. The Affordable Care Act has been called a lot of things, but Obamacare is the most fitting. Obamacare.
One of our most famous landmarks is receiving the world's highest engineering accolade. Maham Kashani has the story.
The Sydney Opera House will be recognised for its engineering excellence by the American Society of Civil Engineers later today. It joins an exclusive club of global landmarks, including the Eiffel Tower, the Golden Gate Bridge and Machu Picchu, which have also received the honour. A digital plaque will be presented to the Opera House Trust.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty. 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide forward Lockie Gollant knows he's got a lot to learn despite a breakout game against Port Adelaide in the showdown. The 20-year-old was outstanding with 4 goals, but he's told Rowie there's still a lot to work on.
I'll take confidence out of that, but, I've still got plenty to learn and, learning from guys like Elliot and Darcy on the field and, Tex not playing with us at the moment, but learning from guys like these, it's really helpful. So I'll keep building my knowledge of the game and hopefully take a bit more confidence out of each week.
Brisbane star Lachie Neale says his ankles are feeling fine and he's right to go for Friday night to take on Geelong.
I'm all good. I tripped over nothing basically and rolled my ankle, just a tweak, and then about 2 minutes later my left ankle got trapped under me, so I had the double ankle, but they're completely fine. I could train. I hurt my ankle last year obviously and had to have surgery on it, but yeah, the ankles are a bit of a weak point of mine.
Audio thanks to Fox Footy. And Port Adelaide and Melbourne will release their sides tonight. That's ahead of tomorrow night's match at Adelaide Oval. And on the women's side, Brisbane's Emily Bates has taken out the AFLW top honour, winning by a single vote ahead of Adelaide's Anne Hatchard. Let's go to cricket, and Australia has secured a 3-wicket win in the one-off T20 match against Pakistan in Lahore. Chasing 163 to win, the Aussies got it done with 5 balls to spare, captain Aaron Finch leading the way with 55. One game in the A-League last night with Central Coast igniting its finals hopes with a 5-0 thumping of Wellington. And it's just gone full-time in European Champions League action. Liverpool 3-1 winners against Benfica, while Manchester City also claimed a 1-0 win against Atletico Madrid. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
When glass breaks, call the experts at O'Brien.
O'Brien. Partly cloudy for your Wednesday, 23. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 24. And 26 on Friday. Right now it's 16 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Visit 202greenhill.com.au and donate to cancer accommodation, research, prevention and support this April.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
24 minutes to 7. Professor Nicola Spura after 7 o'clock on the latest COVID modelling here in South Australia released yesterday. We're saying it's remarkably good news. We'll dig into the detail on that after 7 o'clock today. Some point today or perhaps tomorrow expect that the federal election date will be called. The Greens, however, are in town to kick off their campaign by announcing a $6.1 billion plan to boost the uptake of electric vehicles and re-establish auto manufacturing in Australia, in South Australia too, it sounds like, which is particularly exciting. The leader of the Greens, Adam Bant, joins us in the 5AA Breakfast studio. Good morning to you.
Good morning, really good to be here.
Good to have you here, Adam. Sorry, the last time I saw you was in the Penishore IGA.
Yeah, that's right. That was a pretty nice holiday. That was good. You seem to have a bit less freedom of movement right now.
Yeah, that's right. I hope it didn't ruin your holiday. Every time I went to that place, you seemed to bump into you in the fruit and veg section.
Oh, look, it was a great holiday. I think a lot of people, especially over east, don't know quite how good KI is. It was great. We'll be back.
Well, you do, being a South Aussie originally, and we talked about your upbringing here last time you were in the studio, and today you're in town for something that has been near and dear to South Australia's heart, namely the future of the car industry, and you think that the future is electric.
Well, the future is electric. You can see the big car makers are already shifting over to electric and setting use-by dates for making petrol engines themselves. What we want to do, what the Greens want to see electric cars made here, make them cheaper to buy and make them easier to recharge. And there's a real opportunity in South Australia in particular with the manufacturing know-how and the intellectual smarts to be making them right here and having Australians driving South Australian-made electric cars.
How do you make them cheaper? Because I was in the market for a car in just the last month or so. My wife and I, when we originally set out going, we're going to get an electric. That's what we wanted to do. It feels like the way of the future. Things were looking a bit dicey internationally with the price of oil per barrel. We thought that's the way to go. But everything we looked at that fit our needs was really, really at the expensive end of things. So how do you make that sustainable?
Well, look, they are coming down in price, but we need to do two things. One is to give people the subsidies so that it's cheaper to buy them up front, and then also provide some support so you can get the kind of financing you often get when buying a normal car, but have the government back it up so that it's cheaper to buy. So you get an upfront discount of, we're proposing $10,000 or $15,000 if it's an Australian-made EV, and then a government step in and give you financing to buy the rest. So that will, over time, if you do that, plus you make government have to shift over to EVs, you're going to start creating a big market in electric cars here that will drive down the price with some incentives to have them manufactured here. Plus, we need incentives incentives for car makers to set up shop here in South Australia and in places like Victoria to start making electric cars here, and there's a lot who would jump at the opportunity to do that. Do all of that, you start driving down the price, you start creating jobs in the industry, and importantly, you create a second-hand market for EVs. So maybe your first car won't be a new EV, but you might go and buy a second-hand EV.
Looking closely at your release though, Adam, isn't the flip side of this that if you create all of these new jobs in the electric vehicle space, don't you by definition end up destroying hundreds and hundreds of other jobs? Because you guys are saying that you're going to introduce tough new laws to outlaw the sale of petrol and diesel vehicles, and you're going to do that by 2030. Now, there'd be people listening to our program, people I know, like the guys at Hyundai Nailsworth, Agostino Mitsubishi, CMI Toyota. What are they going to do? Like, what's going to happen to all of the people's whose jobs are underpinned by the sale of cars like, you know, Toyota Hiluxes and so forth?
Well, we're still going to need cars. We just want to make them electric, and so we're saying by 2030, which is long enough a way to plan. In 2030, that'll be the year that all new sales have to either be electric or hybrid. And so that gives big companies and big corporations that are making the shift anyway time to make that change. Look, not that long ago, I was talking to people in South Australia who wanted to set up a business here making electric four-wheel drives. And their vision was that, you know, imagine how well that would go in the rest of the world. Everyone would think, well, if there's a country that can make four-wheel drives and do them well and make them electric, it's got to be Australia. It would be an amazing thing to sell the rest of the world. And because the government back then, for the sake of saving a few $1 million, pulled the rug out from under the car industry, we haven't been able to set up those kind of businesses here. So it's actually really exciting times for car manufacturers, for EV manufacturers, for car retailers. It's just they're going to be now powered electrically. And look, if there's one thing that the latest pushing up of petrol prices shows us, it's that we could be energy independent. We could be secure and running on much cheaper electric cars here and not be at the whim of whether a dictator overseas is going to go and invade another country.
Now, someone's told me, I don't know if this is true or not, you tell me, that your grandfather invented the ute. Is that true?
Look, not quite, but it was banned. The Bants got off the ship from, like many others, from Germany in South Australia back in the 1850s. Some stayed here, some went to Quorn, some went over to Victoria, and one, Lewis Bant, worked for Ford in Geelong.
Right.
And the story goes that someone came into him and said, I want something that gets... A farmer came in and said, I want something that gets my pigs to the market on Saturday and my wife to church on Sunday. And from there, the ute was born. And so it was Lou Bant working for Ford in Geelong who invented the ute back in about 1932, 1933. So, and the rest, as they say, is history. He was employed by Ford, so we didn't make any money out of it, but it was a Bant with the South Australian connection that invented the ute.
So it was a Bant that started the utes, and it's a Bant in South Australia that wants to start the EV revolution here in South Australia today. That's
right. We're pretty good at innovation here in this country and here in South Australia, and let's make it electric.
Adam Bant, great to have you in. Thanks for your time.
Thanks a lot.
That's the leader of the Greens federally, Adam Bant. It's 17 minutes to 7 and time to check traffic for the first time this morning. Win an incredible Henley Beach home plus $1 million in cash in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
G'day boys. Roads slippery and wet this morning, so do take some extra care on the drive in. Few roadworks to look out for too. McDonald Park intersection upgrade works there. Heathcliff Road near Curtis Road. West Hindmarsh drainage works continue. Port Road near South Road. That's as you're heading outbound. Got one lane out of action. Speeds at 40 and speeds reduced at Myrtle Bank. That's for the intersection upgrade of Glen Osmond Road and Fullerton Road. Couple of cameras, President Avenue, Andrews Farm and Tolmer Road at Elizabeth Park. The smarter Volvo XC60 is now in stock and available for immediate delivery. Book a test drive today at volvocarsadelaide.com.au. DL 65541. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Wow, this is a really fruity bouquet. It's complex, yet gentle on the palate.
Since when do you know so much about wine?
Since I WEA'd it. I took their wine appreciation course.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
WEA-sa.com.au
I feel like I've been counting sheep all night.
Sounds like you need circadian.
Don't you mean circadian rhythm?
No, circadian. It's prolonged release melatonin and it helps improve sleep quality.
Circadian?
Yeah, circadian. And it's now available without prescription from your pharmacist. Thinking melatonin? Think circadian. Sleep better, live better. Visit circadian.com.au. For people 55 years or older, ask your pharmacist. They must decide if this product is right for you.
Thanks Frydenberg and ScoMo for the $250. That works out to $1.60 a week over the next 3 years. Tell them they're dreaming. Vote 1, United Australia Party. Authorised by Clive Palmer for the United Australia Party, Brisbane.
So, why go with NRG Solar?
My contact with NRG Solar was through the receptionist who made an appointment for us and let us know exactly the date that people were coming to implement the system. They came punctually on the day. They communicated with us. They told us how to use the meter and so on, and overall cleaned up after themselves. We were very happy with the service provided by NRG Solar.
Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Hear that? That's the sound of the wild calling. And it's calling you. The African lion is one of over 500 animals that you'll experience at Monarto Safari Park. The wild is calling. Are you listening? Book your tickets online at monartosafari.com.au.
Hurry into Beaumont's huge DIY sale. Refresh your kitchen splashback for under $100. Update your outdoor pavers with 20% off and grab up to 60% off Manager's Easter specials. In-store only at your local Beaumont Tiles.
So what shall I make? Thai, Greek, Italian, Malaysian? What about a beautifully decorated cake?
Let me guess, you WEA'd it?
Yeah, absolutely.
When it comes to the kitchen, you can WEA anything. WEA-sa.com.au.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Help create a home for South Australians impacted by cancer. Visit 202greenhill.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
14 minutes after 7, lots of texts on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line on the Greens electric vehicle plan. We got one here from Andrew, says, outlaw diesel, sorry, he just lost me. I have to do long journeys in the outback and 300 Ks on batteries, just won't do it. Another says, 2030, Adam Bant, thanks for ensuring people in low socioeconomic areas won't be able to afford a new car. Someone else has said, though, Mark said, good on you, Adam, you'll be getting my vote. Thank you for that, Mark. 0448081395. That's the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. Let's talk about the weather. Vince Rowland, Senior Forecaster at the Bureau. Morning to you, Vince.
Morning, guys.
So what have we got on the way?
Yeah, looks like that shower activity has cleared to the east now, so looking at fine for the rest of the day. Expected to get to a top of 23 degrees today, a bit cooler up in the hills, Mount Barker, 20 degrees, and along the coast in Noongar we've got 22 degrees today. But that shower activity did bring some good falls. We've got some recorded rainfall totals up to about 10 millimetres or so in parts of the hills, but generally across the metro area we had about 3 to 5 millimetres with a little bit more over some of the southern suburbs. So yeah, some nice rain for the garden, but yeah, as I said, that's cleared away now and we are expecting fine conditions under the influence of a high-pressure system right through until the latter part of the weekend. But certainly going into a warming trend over the next few days. We've got 24 degrees for tomorrow, 26 degrees for Friday. The weekend is certainly looking pretty good for the Saturday, and most of Sunday we've got 27 for Saturday, Sunday 28 before a bit of a change comes through. Most likely later in the day, a bit of a risk of a shower with that change, but not expecting too much with it on Sunday. But then we're more likely to see showers come through on Monday and Tuesday as we get a bit of an upper system moving across the state. So could see some showers at this stage up to around 1 millimetre, but yeah, keep a pretty close eye on that one because there's some indications we could get a little bit more, but we'll have to see what happens over the next few days. But certainly some cooler conditions of 23 for Monday, 22 for Tuesday, and likely to see some shower activity as well.
Good on you, Vince. Thank you for that. Senior forecaster Vince Rowlands at the Weather Bureau. Let's head to SAPOL. Senior Constable Dave Muir is on the line. Morning to you, Dave.
Good morning.
Now, there's been a home invasion.
Yeah, this was at Jervois, just out of Murray Bridge, around 3:30 or just after 3:30 this morning. Patrols were called to a property on Jervois Road after 3 male suspects forced their way into the house via a door before hitting the victim with some pieces of timber and demanding that he hand over his firearms. Now, the victim refused, and the trio subsequently left with some keys to several vehicles. They're described as all wearing dark clothing and dark masks. The victim, a 50-year-old man from that address, received some injuries to his head and his arm. He was taken to Murray Bridge Hospital for treatment. Now, investigations are continuing. We are asking anyone that may have information about this incident, give us a call at Crime Stoppers, please, on 1800 333 000.
Dave, also, there was a hit-run crash at Hectorville overnight.
Yeah, around 11:45 last night, police and emergency services were called to the intersection of Gaffney Place and Montacute Road, following reports of a crash between a motorbike and a car. Now, the driver of the car allegedly failed to stop at that scene. The rider is a 41-year-old man from Campbelltown. He ended up being taken to the Royal Adelaide Hospital, where he remains with non-life-threatening injuries, thankfully. Witnesses did report seeing a white car that may have been involved in the crash. So again, we are asking any witnesses to that crash or anyone who has any information that could assist police, give us a call at Crime Stoppers. That number again, 1800 333 000.
Good on you, Dave. Thank you for that. Senior Constable Dave Muir from SAPOL. Now, our mate Ben Jordan, David, has sent through a picture of the sandwich board of available snacks at Augusta. We were speaking about the Masters a little bit earlier. I think this is last year, because there was a bit of a furor about some of these prices going up $1, and people are upset. But here's some of the prices on the board. Sandwiches. You get egg salad for $1.50. You get the pimento cheese for $1.50. Barbecue's $2.50. The Masters Club's $2.50. The chicken breast $2.50. The rest are $1.50. Breakfast is served till 10 a.m. Coffee's $1. A sausage biscuit's $1.50. I don't know what that is. It sounds a
sausage biscuit.
It sounds appalling.
What is that?
Blueberry muffin is $1.
And no, a biscuit in the States is like a scone.
That's true. That's even worse. A sausage scone.
But it'd be like a savoury scone.
It's even worse.
No, that might be all right. That might be all right.
Fresh fruit $1. Beverages, soft drinks $1. Bottled water $1.50. Iced tea $1.50. Domestic beer $2.75. Imported beer $3.50. Snacks, and this is great because all the language is so it's older because they've just the whole ethos of the place is they don't update these things. So snacks, candy is $1. Chips and crackers $1. Peanuts
candy would
$1.
be like a Babe Ruth bar or something.
I'm guessing cookie would be $1. An ice cream bar, if you wanted to splash out, is $2. So that gives you a bit of a sense of what's on offer if you're lucky enough to get along to the Masters. Like Sean, who tweeted us saying you should definitely go if you ever have the chance. It's an amazing place. Good on you, Sean.
I guess the thing is that what they lose on the hospitality side, they make up for in the green fees and the memberships.
Yeah, that's that's right.
Oh, you're not paying $49 for a round at Augusta. Surely.
No, I wouldn't have thought. I don't even know if they do. I wonder how that works. I've got no idea.
I don't think you could rock up as a punter and play there.
No, I'm completely sure that you can't. Hey, we've got a
half set.
We're going to do something really fun on Friday morning. We've got the chance for you to bid on an amazing VIP experience at the Adelaide Oval, where you get your own corporate box. Your own corporate box at the Adelaide Oval. This is valued at $8,000, which you sort of think, okay, $8,000 is a lot of scratch, but it fits 18 people. So this is for you and 17 mates, basically, where you can enjoy the game with hospitality. It's in one of the best spots to watch footy from in the Adelaide Oval. And the best news is that all the money that's raised by this auction will help support SA Police Legacy. Now, they help with the finances, the emotional side, they do social support and assistance for serving and retired South Australian police officers. So this is a charity that really helps out South Australian police. And your bid and the winning bid will go a long way to helping them do the wonderful work they do. So if you want to bid on this prize, just go to policelegacysa.org.au, policelegacysa.org.au. We'll take live bids on Friday morning and we'll give it away. The beauty part about this too is you can pick your own game that you go to. So there's no set date. You can make it work with you, just not the showdown.
So Port fans can go and see a different team if they want.
Absolutely. Yeah,
that was a joke.
Yeah, I was slowing the uptake there.
Joke.
Support SA Police Legacy and support SA Police families when they need it the most. Visit policelegacysa.org.au. richest man in the world right now is this man.
The thing I really focus on at Tesla is like really put all of my money into and attention into trying to make the product as compelling as possible. So, because I think that really the way to sell any product is through word of mouth. So if somebody gets the car, they really like it. The key is like to have a product that people will love.
It's Elon Musk, who's not a riveting public speaker, but he is a visionary and incredible business person that's risen to be the richest person on earth. Now, Forbes have released their rich list, but it has been out of date because they have to do a cut-off day where they say, well, we're going to print, and that's the day we're going to take everyone's net worth. But there's a lot of volatility in the world of the billionaire, and Elon Musk has a lot of balls in the air, like Tesla and now like Twitter, where he's just thrown a few $1 billion at, and he's on the board of Twitter now. Those things have all gone up since they did the cut-off date of the rich list. But what Forbes do have is this real-time billionaire worth tracker. So if you look at it right now this morning, he's worth just shy of $300 billion. $300 billion, right? That actually makes him now about $100 billion ahead of Jeff Bezos in second place.
Doesn't that make him ahead of some smaller countries?
100%. 100%.
So he'd be worth more than, say, Uganda, probably.
I've no doubt. Yeah, he'd probably be worth more than a region of Africa, I'd suspect. So the next most, Jeff Bezos, and they sometimes go hand in hand. Jeff Bezos of Amazon fame is $100 billion behind him. This is because Tesla, and we're just talking about electric cars, their share price has gone through the roof. Twitter's gone up since he invested in it as well, so his net worth's increasing. A lot of our audience would their reference point for being rich and obscenely rich would be Warren Buffett. So Warren Buffett net worth is now $125 billion. So he's more than twice as valuable in terms of the assets and what he owns as Warren Buffett is, who's been in this game investing in the best at it since the Second World War, basically, since the 1940s. He's worth more than these people combined as well right now. Just think about this. Bill Gates, who obviously founded Microsoft, and Steve Ballmer, who was the other founder of Microsoft, the founders of Google, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, if you combine them all, people invented Google and Microsoft, he's still worth more. It is absolutely incredible where this bloke's at the moment. And it's hard to do the maths and the metrics, but there is some suggestion he right now, relative to everyone else on Earth, might be the richest person ever, if you understand what I'm saying. Just relative to everyone else. There is some. It's hard to calculate it over time with a whole range of things, but right now, it's quite remarkable.
How'd he do it? I mean, it's just annoying, isn't it?
Well, he invented PayPal. I think that was his first thing.
Oh, that's of course. Yeah, that's right.
He came up with PayPal. This guy he's an egomaniac and he's got a hero complex. But I kind of like the fact that his view is, I'm going to use my money to do stuff. It's not about swanning around on a yacht. Like sometimes it's a bit annoying when he says, I can solve the war in Ukraine. I'm going to make sure everyone gets internet, or I'm going to solve
I'm going to make sure I'm going to ring this Jay Weatherall guy in South Australia and say, hey, I'll build you a battery.
That's right. Or the cave diving. Remember that? And he said, I've got equipment that could help out. Like, it's annoying, but at the same time, he's an incredibly intriguing person.
What he thought about that.
Yeah, I can only imagine. But he's just he is everything he does is incredibly interesting. I've sat down and listened to podcasts with him.
The guy in the Simpsons episode standing there in the corner with the John 3:16 sign when the kid fell down the well.
Jeez, he's incredibly dull to listen to, though. It's quite. Yeah. He sounds like an engineer, which is what he is, and a rich one at that.
You can't be good at everything, can you?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's coming up to 2 minutes to 7. 8223 is our number. You can text us on the Telstra Storm at Barker text line. Professor Nicola Spurrier next.
Forget the high-vis shirt. Everyone's a tradie this month at You Install It Kitchens. Yep, we're offering trade pricing for everyone. All our cabinetry is custom-sized and pre-assembled. That means you'll save money and it'll save you time too. Get your trade pricing today for a limited time only. Head into a showroom to get started. Modbury, Glandore, Norwood, Lonsdale and Churchill Centre. Or try You Install It's free 3D online design planner. You Install It Kitchens. The complete DIY kitchen solution. Conditions apply.
Hop into Cheap as Chips for an
excellent Easter.
Cheapest chips.
You'll love our yummy chocolate Easter bunnies and eggs. Whether your favourite is Violet Crumble, Fruit Chocks, or just plain old Chocky, there's something for everybody. Plus, don't miss our huge range of Easter toys, craft, decorations, and gift ideas, including Paw Patrol and Barbie boxed Easter gift sets. Cheapest Chips has everything you need for a happy cheapster. I mean, Easter. Live cheaper every day at Cheapest Chips.
Come on in.
We open our doors to people we trust and care about. And for over 85 years, South Australians have been opening their doors to Rest Haven. In turn, we've been opening doors to an easier, better life at home. From personal care to help with the shopping and social outings, you'll welcome the care that Rest Haven brings.
At IGA, you'll find all your Easter goodies, like Australian lamb leg roast $14.50 per kilo and avocados $1.49 each. Now at your local IGA. Offer ends April 12. Participating stores only. Excludes local grocer and Foodland.
Adelaide has a new home for BMW at Medindi BMW, with a large selection of BMW certified used vehicles available for immediate delivery prior to end of financial year. Visit Medindi BMW today at number 1 Main North Road, Medindi.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 23 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact premierpanel.com.au. RAA approved crash repairer.
There's been a hit run at Hectorville. Senior Constable Dave Muir says it happened late last night.
Around 11:45 last night, police and emergency services were called to the intersection of Gaffney Place and Montacute Road following reports of a crash between a motorbike and a car. Now, the driver of the car allegedly failed to stop at that scene.
The rider, a 41-year-old man from Campbelltown, was taken to hospital where he remains with non-life-threatening injuries. Witnesses reported a white car that may have been involved. Anyone who witnessed the crash is asked to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. 3 masked men have carried out a home invasion near Murray Bridge. The trio hit the resident of the Jervois property with pieces of wood, demanding he hand over his firearms. He refused and the men left with keys to several vehicles. The 50-year-old victim is being treated for head injuries. Investigations are continuing. Well, COVID is closing another high school for several days, this time in Adelaide's southwest. Brighton Secondary will be shut from tomorrow and reopen Tuesday after the virus hit staffing numbers. New modelling shows the current Omicron wave will peak at around 5,500 daily cases, well below the 8,000 initially estimated. Yesterday, there were just over 5,000 cases. And we're being reminded to roll up our sleeves for a COVID booster shot. SA Health's Rachel Kay says around 300,000 eligible people are yet to get a third jab.
From a public health perspective, we would love to see more South Australians rolling up to protect themselves, their families and the broader community.
Australia will help build hypersonic missiles as part of the defence agreement with the US and Britain. The long-range missiles can be fired from land, sea and air, travelling at 5 times the speed of sound. The move is designed to keep up with China and Russia's military capabilities. Federal Treasurer Josh Frydenberg says the government is doing all it can to protect Australia.
The AUKUS arrangement with the United States and the United Kingdom will help secure Australia's future, and it's a broad-ranging agreement. It's everything from nuclear-powered submarines to also having artificial intelligence and also accessibility to these hypersonic missiles.
A young boy has been injured on a ride at Movie World. Mia Glover is on the Gold Coast.
Witnesses described hearing a loud scream coming from the Looney Tunes carousel ride where the 12-year-old boy had fallen. An off-duty nurse as well as the park's nurse gave the boy first aid before he was rushed to Gold Coast University Hospital in a serious but stable condition. The park is this morning investigating the incident and exactly what happened, with some reports suggesting the boy may have tried to stand up on the ride and hit his head on the roof and then fell. That will form part of the investigation. The boy is this morning doing well. He suffered a deep laceration on his head.
Paul McCartney's childhood home in Liverpool is going to open to those wishing to follow in his footsteps. It will be available for unsigned artists to write music and gain inspiration. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
With everything footy, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Yes, Port Adelaide will name its side to take on Melbourne tonight, with the game taking place at Adelaide Oval tomorrow night. Defender Tom Cleary trained yesterday and is an outside chance to make a return from a knee injury, while midfielder Willem Drew has told Rowie and Cornsey Alir is looking better after hurting his ankle in round one.
I think Alir is progressing really well. He's probably another couple of weeks away, but a couple of handy inclusions will definitely help.
The All-Australian side for the AFLW competition was named last night, with 4 Crows making it. Sarah Allen, Ashley Woodland, Ebony Marinoff and Anne Hatchard made it. Hatchard finishing runner-up in the Best and Fairest Award, finishing only 1 vote behind Brisbane's Emily Bates. Australia's cricketers have finished the tour of Pakistan on a high, claiming the standalone T20 match by 3 wickets in Lahore. Captain Aaron Finch responded to criticism of his form with a knock of 55 from 45 balls, helping Australia meet the 163-run target with 5 balls to spare. Well, Tiger Woods has given the strongest indication yet he will take his place in the Masters field this week. The major gets underway Friday morning our time. Tiger has played since he sustained injuries in a car accident last year just the once, but he says he won't just be making up the numbers.
I don't show up to an event unless I think I can win it. I feel like I still have the hands to do it. The body's moving good enough. I've been in worse situations and played have won tournaments, but if I feel like I can't, then you won't see me out here. You guys know me better than that.
And in some soccer to finish the first legs of the Champions League quarter-finals, Liverpool has beaten Benfica 3-1. Manchester City also had a 1-0 victory over Atletico Madrid. And the Russian Football Federation is dropping its appeal against its ban from the FIFA World Cup. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Get your tickets today for the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery's biggest ever $4 million grand prize.
You're waking to greasy and damp conditions on the roads, so do take some extra care on the drive in today. And some roadworks to look out for. West Hindmarsh drainage works on Port Road near South Road heading outbound. Lane closed there this morning, speeds at 40. Darlington works continue on the Flagstaff Road upgrade near the South Road intersection. And Myrtle Bank speeds reduced for the intersection upgrade works off Glen Osmond Road and Fullerton Road. Cameras, Hamilton Road, Fairview Park and President Avenue at Andrews Farm. What's better than 1 sausage roll? How about 2? Head into OTR for 2 sausage rolls for $5. Yes, 2 for only $5. OTR, making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
When glass breaks, call the experts at O'Brien.
O'Brien. 23 for your Wednesday, partly cloudy tomorrow 24. Right now it's 15. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Help create a home for South Australians impacted by cancer. Visit 202greenhill.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Of loving you, I just can't believe it's true. I just can't believe the wonder of this feeling too.
7 minutes after 7, Professor Nicholas Spurrier coming up in just a moment. Then a little bit later this hour, Sean Fuster will join us. We'll go around the courts with Sean. Big one today as well, because the question of the legality of a vaccine mandate will be before the court. The Denny Van Hagen, Crows AFLW player and nurse, her trial will be on today. So looking forward to Sean giving us a preview of that. How the law is likely to look upon this and some of the evidence that they'll bring in favour of their argument saying the whole thing was unlawful. So looking forward to that chat after 7:30 today. I want to start with Ukraine and the situation there. And a lot of people have been frustrated about what the role of the West is and what kind of pressure can be brought to bear on Russia. We've had sanctions, David. We've had strong language and condemnation and whatnot. I reckon you might have made mention of this in the last couple of days as something that's changed, and now really obviously so. And that is now so much is being directed towards the Russian people. So much of what our leaders in the West are saying is directed towards the Russian people. And in that vein, I just wanted to play you this. This has been broadcast on to Russian Twitter accounts and Russian social media, and it's a message from British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. It's a little bit long, but this gives you a real insight into what's the next wave of attack and pushback against Russia. It's going to be trying to energise the Russian people against Vladimir Putin. Here's Boris Johnson.
Россияне достойны правды. Вы достойны того, чтобы узнать факты. The atrocities committed by Russian troops in Bucha, Irpin, and elsewhere in Ukraine have horrified the world. Civilians massacred, shot dead with their hands tied, women raped in front of their young children, bodies crudely burned, dumped in mass graves, or just left lying in the street. The reports are so shocking and so sickening, it's no wonder your government is seeking to hide them from you. Your president knows that if you could see what was happening, you would not support his war. He knows that these crimes betray the trust of every Russian mother who proudly waves goodbye to her son as he heads off to join the military. And he knows that they are a stain on the honour of Russia itself. A stain that will only grow larger and more indelible every day as this war continues. But don't just take my word for it. All you need is a VPN connection to access independent information from anywhere in the world. And when you find the truth, share it. Those responsible will be held to account. And history will remember who looked the other way. Ваш президент обвиняется в совершении военных преступлений, но я не верю, что он действует от вашего имени.
I think that's fascinating for so many reasons. It's facilitated by the internet age, where you can send it to where people are definitely going to see it in a country like Russia, even as it tries to close off independent media. He's speaking in their language, but also with instructions of how to get around censorship. I'm not sure we've seen anything like that before.
Well, it's sort of the modern day equivalent of the old CIA leaflet drop into a community that's under the yoke of a repressive dictator in Latin America or Africa, a tactic that was pioneered in the sort of post-colonial era. But I sort of think, that's all well and good, but what is the trigger point for the removal of Putin? I mean, when's the next election? Is it an open election?
Yeah.
Is there a viable opposition? I mean,
well, he's still in prison, isn't he?
He's in jail. The bloke who's survived poisoning attempts on his life. So, I mean, are we urging sort of 1917 all over again? Do we want another mass revolution across Russia to oust Putin? I actually think one of the best things I read about Putin in the last week was a piece from the Times of London about his personal wealth and just what a disgusting insult it is to the people of Russia who have such low incomes and such short life expectancies by Western standards. There was a photograph of Putin. A guy who used to work in the Kremlin has become obsessed with trying to track down his wealth. Apparently he's got 20 homes across Russia. But there was a photograph of him the other day. He was wearing a puffer jacket that is an Italian-made designer brand, and the jacket costs $18,000.
No.
Yeah, 18 grand, his jacket. And it made the point that the average wage in Russia is about half that. So that with one item of clothing, this guy is wearing, something that costs twice what the average Russian person earns in an entire year. And you think that's the kind of stuff that needs to get out, because the guy he styles himself as a populist, but he really is the final scene in George Orwell's Animal Farm, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. The other story, if you listen to 5AA News, that's knocking around, and a local one with really important ramifications for our policy response to COVID, is the updated modelling of our peak number of COVID cases and our estimated occupancy in hospital wards. They paint a picture that's better than that we'd had demonstrated to us previous. The peak now for cases will be, it looks, as I look at the graph right now, just below 6,000. The estimated adult ward occupancy peak will be lower than what we had back in January. It'll be somewhere under 200 hospital beds. And the better news, I think, is that it all drops away very quickly. And by the time we get to the end of May, things are looking really, really positive in South Australia. Professor Nicola Spurrier is, of course, our Chief Public Health Officer and joins us on 5AA Breakfast now. Professor Spurrier, good morning to you.
Good morning. Nice to be here.
Well, it's particularly nice, Professor Spurrier, when we've got such a positive story. We've been light on for positive stories for a couple of years, but these figures look pretty good, don't they?
Yes, they do. Look, just because I was just listening to you as you introduced me, and our modellers will be saying, if they were listening, they'd be saying to me, just be a bit cautious with any predictions when you go out further. So the model is best predicting over the next 3 to 4 week period. The problem is when you go out further, it's just very difficult to be putting in inputs. We're always wondering how are the vaccines going to go? Is there going to be waning of immunity, and is there a potential for another variant? But, I remain extremely positive person, and I think this really demonstrates when you do get a very well vaccinated community what the difference is, because if you compare this, as you said, to our previous wave, we had that much higher rate of ward occupancy, but even with high numbers now, the admissions to hospital are so much lower. Not to say, I just want to have a shout out here for all of the staff that work in our hospitals that are still under considerable pressure. This is showing us that the grey bars on our graphs, which people are very welcome to see. The grey bars are our own data, and the data is for people who are admitted for COVID because they've specifically got symptoms related to COVID. We still have people who, break a leg or they have some other sort of reason to come into hospital, perhaps a heart attack, and we are testing people as they come through the door, and we pick up people who have what we call incidental COVID, but it's not the main reason for them being admitted, but they still need to be treated in isolation, so we've still got that very high level of PPE required for our staff.
David, just before you ask the question there, David, I just want to let people know, if you're listening along to this interview, we've put the graphs and the modelling up on the FIVEaa Facebook live stream. So if you want to listen along and see the things that we're talking about, the peaks and the troughs and the waves, with our great partnership with the Cancer Council, we have the FIVEaa Facebook live stream, and I've just noticed Brooklyn's put it back up now. So I just want people to have a chance to be able to see that while they're listening to the conversation. David, but you go ahead.
No, all I was going to say, Professor Spurrier, was to the point you were just making. I saw that in action with my own eyes yesterday. I had to go and have a PCR test at the Royal Adelaide Hospital, and as I was sitting in the queue, there were all these nurses who kept popping up who they were leaving work. They were coming out of the hospital because they had to have a PCR test. I don't know whether they'd had a brush with someone who had the virus or whatever, and they were given, because originally I wasn't complaining about it, I just thought, hang on, that person has just popped up from nowhere and has suddenly got in ahead of me. And another person who was there did complain, and the people who were running it, who were just sensational, went over and said, no, look, the reason is they're actually working, and they need to keep passing these PCR tests so they can keep doing their job. And I just thought, it's such a well-oiled machine watching it in operation.
Yeah, no, there's a huge amount that happens behind the scenes to make sure that patients are kept safe and we keep our staff in the hospitals.
Yeah.
Professor Spurrier, why does it, to the layperson, it seems we always we overestimate the peaks, both of hospital occupancy and of case numbers. Why is that the case? Is there something that we overestimate about COVID or underestimate about our mitigation strategies?
Well, I think we probably underestimate our mitigation strategies. So you want to try and, because you're using this to plan for your hospitals, so you don't want to underplan. So when we don't know, when we've got only estimates about vaccine effectiveness, then you don't want to say overcall how effective the vaccine's going to be in terms of stopping transmission and reducing hospitalisation. You don't want to underestimate the severity of a new variant, so because you don't want to have underestimated your planning for hospitals, but because we've got this such great relationship with the modellers, and we're supplying them with our data on a daily basis, it means that they can recalibrate the model, not in real time, but every 4 or 5 days when they've got enough data to feel that we really need to be updating the model. So that's the real beauty of it. It's not a static model, which we did 2 months ago, and we keep doggedly following it. It's updated as we get our own data inputted into it, and it becomes more accurate.
How important, Professor Spurrier, is it for people who haven't yet done it to get their third dose? I mean, there's still a bit of a lag there, isn't there, between people who've had the the 2 doses but haven't got their third?
Yes. Look, I'm so glad you brought that up because it is absolutely critical because Omicron has this what's called immune escape. It's a different spike protein. And so the same effect you would have with Delta, you need 3 doses with Omicron. Now, because we've had, it's almost, around about 70% of people eligible for their third dose, they've had it. That's actually been one of the main reasons that we're seeing such a difference now in our hospitalisations compared to what we saw in that first wave when we had the BA1 in January. But there's about 30% of people who are eligible for whatever reason they think, well, maybe I've had COVID and I don't need it, or 2 doses seem to be what the government told me to start with. The really clear message is you need 3 doses. Now, one of the reasons I've had people say is, look, I'm not too worried about getting COVID, but I really do not want to be an ISO. So if you're one of those people, what you can do to stop yourself getting an ISO is to go and have that third dose, because we know that not only does it reduce hospitalisations, it does reduce the severity, but it also has an impact on stopping you getting infected in the first place.
Professor Spurrier, are you comfortable with the suggestion from the Premier that mask use can be relaxed by Easter?
So we've looked at this very carefully, and again, this model includes actually taking the mask effect away on the 14th of April. So that is also reassuring. And the thing is, people might be a bit surprised, but when we have a public holiday and we've got that Easter long weekend, we actually see a drop in the mobility of our population. And of course, we've also got the school holidays when that will be a natural break in all the infections that are occurring in our schools at the moment. So in terms of timing, I'm quite happy with that timing. But I just really want to say, if there's a change in the mandate about masks, it doesn't mean that you don't have, you still got a choice to wear it. And I am certainly going to keep wearing it because while some people, lucky them, have had mild COVID, many colleagues of mine have had very, very severe infections with COVID where they have felt quite unwell for many weeks afterwards. So I'm going to keep wearing my mask when I think I'm in a crowded indoor place, and I'm going to encourage other people to wear it because it protects me and it protects the people around me as well.
What's the school situation look like at the moment, Professor Spurrier? We saw yesterday that one of the state's biggest and best regarded public schools, Brighton High, has fully closed. It's just gone through the schools like Topsy, hasn't it?
Look, it really has, and I think quite clearly one of the reasons is that we're not requiring quarantine for students, and we have to do that because otherwise the schools could be shut, almost constantly. But what it does show is that quarantine is very effective at stopping the chains of transmission. So the teachers and we've been working closely with the education department, but the teachers and the staff at the school have just been doing a brilliant job. It's been difficult, but it's to me an essential universal right of every child to be able to attend face-to-face school. So it certainly has not been a smooth ride. It's been pretty bumpy, but I think most kids would have said they've managed to get through to the end of the term and have enjoyed the schooling that they have received.
Hey, Professor, would you be interested in David donating his body to medical science, given he's living in a house with 4 people with it and he can't seem to contract COVID?
You have a great immune system. Congratulations.
I think
I'd like the old joke. I think if I gave my body to science, they'd hand it back to me and say thanks, but no thanks. But, good on you, Professor Spurrier.
Thank you very much.
That's Chief Public Health Officer Professor Nicholas Spurrier. I didn't want to volunteer on your behalf, David. That's what obviously what I did.
Very kind of you, Will.
But I just was thinking of, future generations. That's all. We could learn from you.
Kate did a rat on me yesterday afternoon, and she looked at the results and she said, "It's official. You are a freak."
Win an incredible Henley Beach home plus $1 million cash in the Hospital Research Foundation home lottery.
You're waking to some damp and greasy roads this morning, so take a little bit of extra care on the drive in today and keep your eye out for roadworks at West Hindmarsh. Drainage works at the Airport Road near South Road heading outbound. One lane closed, speeds at 40. O'Halloran Hill works on Majors Road near the Southern Expressway. Speeds at 40. That does get pretty slow throughout the morning. And Myrtle Bank speeds have been reduced for the intersection works around Cross Road and Fullerton Road. Got a camera too. Red Banks Road, Kangaroo Flat. Out and about, fill up with Shell V-Power 98, the premier fuel designed to deliver unbeatable protection for your engine. Fuel the feeling. Details online. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Afternoons with Jade Robran.
John Platten, AFL footy legend. Do you fear you have CTE?
It does appear at times that I go through a bit of a swing, and I'm thinking to myself, John, just relax.
John, knowing what you know today and how you feel today, looking at your career, would you change anything?
Jade Robran.
I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't change my career. You know, I couldn't change the way that I played.
Weekday afternoons from 1:30 on 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
It isn't waste until you waste it. That's the catch cry from an amazing company called Eco Waste Solutions. Eco Waste Solutions is a hard waste recycling facility, not a dump, located at Williston. They'll take everything except hazardous waste and food scraps. They'll take your waste bricks, your mattresses, tyres, soil, timber, steel, concrete and more. Plus, if you pre-sort your load, you receive a 50% discount on disposal fees. Google Eco Waste Solutions Williston for more.
Nothing beats that new car experience. And you'll still be feeling it long after you drive away in a new Kluger 7-seat hybrid SUV from Jarvis Toyota. With all-wheel drive hybrid power and intelligent safety technology, the Kluger is where freedom meets family. And Jarvis have stock ready for immediate delivery. Rediscover the road in the all-new Toyota Kluger hybrid at Jarvis Toyota. South Road, Clovelly Park, proudly celebrating 20 years of great deals.
Now, they say when one door closes, another opens. The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery is back with a chance to win a new $4 million grand prize.
What about this? The fully furnished Scott Salisbury home in Henley Beach has it all and then some, and it includes a staggering $1 million cash.
Imagine the housewarming you'd be able to throw then. Have you seen the pool, the alfresco available at this place as well, David? It is unbelievable.
And look, don't just take our word for it. You can go and visit yourself every Monday, every Wednesday, and on the weekends from 12 until 5.
This is their biggest grand prize ever, which is saying something, plus over 10,000 prizes to win. You're thinking things like luxury cars, getaways, all sorts of wonderful stuff you don't want to miss out.
And best of all, by buying a ticket in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery, you're joining the fight against more than 50 areas of disease and illness, helping build a better future for all South Australians.
Join the fight. Get your tickets now at homelottery.com.au.
If you were to come into an aged care facility and see what I see every day, you'd be heartbroken, you'd be disgusted, and you'd want to make a change too, because our residents deserve more.
It's disgusting that you haven't done your job and fixed staff ratios in aged care, Mr. Morrison. Vote to make aged care staff ratios law and help Samantha and her colleagues provide the best care for our elderly loved ones. Authorised by Elizabeth DeBars, Australian Nursing and Midwifery Federation, SA Branch, Adelaide.
Hurry into Beaumont's huge DIY sale. Refresh your kitchen splashback for under $100. Update your outdoor pavers with 20% off and grab up to 60% off Manager's Easter specials. In-store only at your local Beaumont Tiles.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Visit 202greenhill.com.au and donate to cancer accommodation, research, prevention and support this April.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
27 minutes after 7. Let's reflect on the sports show last night. Book your service online at North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point way. Rowie caught up with Meg Lanning after the Women's World Cup final. The Australian women's cricket team won, beating England by 71 runs.
Catch it! Backing back! That's the catch! The 5-year master plan has come to fruition for Australia. They have what they came for. It's the World Cup title.
Yeah, their 7th. It was a dominating performance. Went through undefeated. They smoked the Poms by 71 runs in the final. Joining us is our skipper, Meg Lanning. Meg, unbelievable. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Just starting to sort of really sink in now, and it was an incredible night and an amazing tournament as well. And just so pleased that we're able to finish it off so well. Yeah, I guess to be able to put out one of our best performances in a long time on the biggest stage is something that as a group we're really proud of.
They're just an incredible team. They're just absolute superstars. There's no doubt about it. Great chat that Rowie had last night on the FIVEaa Sports Show. Hey,
it's good the extent to which women's sport has become mainstream. I mean, so often now, we did it yesterday with Tom, you know, the entire segment was largely about the AFLW Grand Final coming up this weekend. And I'll tell you what, folks, if you haven't got your tickets yet, get them. Like $10 per adult, and if you're under 18, you don't pay a cent. And the weather is going to be sensational. There's no clash with any other AFL games. Port play Thursday at home, and the Crows play away on Sunday at Marvel. So I can't think of any reason why you would not get along to watch the AFLW Grand Final.
And the weather on the weekend, as you've said, the rhythm of the last couple of weeks has been, it's warmed up for Saturday and Sunday. It will be the case this week as well. 27 and 28, it's going to be absolutely magnificent.
Perfect.
29 minutes after 7, more from Stephen Rowe tonight. Book your service online at North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point way. Sean Fuster will join us. We're going to go around the courts in a moment. This is going to be a fascinating trial today regarding vaccine mandates, and Denny Van Hagen from the Crows women's side, a nurse who's challenging them. Sean will take you through the case in a moment.
You can WEA just about anything. Learn a new language or an instrument, learn how to read tarot cards, become a better cook or artist, learn more about Adelaide on guided history tours. It's easy to enrol and so much fun. Visit wea-sa.com.au.
Hey, it's Callum here. Whether you're buying your first Mazda, trading your old vehicle, or getting your car serviced, take it from me. You cannot go wrong with the team at Edwardstown Mazda. Right now, there's phenomenal savings on new, demo, and used Mazdas, including the Mazda 3 G20 Pure from $29,919 drive away, or CX-5 Max Sport from $42,033 drive away.
It's gotta be
edwardstownmazda.com.au. LMVD 207428.
Thousands of people have walked through the stunning Beechwood display home at Blackwood Park. Some of those people several times because it's just that good. But your time is running out. It's just been sold. From April, the home will be closed. But fear not, because now you can go behind the scenes of a Beechwood home while under construction. You'll get an incredible insight into what makes Beechwood homes an SA favourite. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
FIVEaa Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to FIVEaa Facebook or search FIVEaa on YouTube. This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Partly cloudy, 23 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact Premier Panel Services at premierpanel.com.au.
One of the state's biggest public schools, Brighton High, will shut tomorrow due to COVID. Staff shortages has forced the school to revert to remote learning for 3 days. But in some good news, we could have already reached the peak of the current COVID wave. Professor Nicola Spurrier says new modelling shows a high of 5,500 cases instead of 8,000.
We're supplying them with our data on a daily basis. It means that they can recalibrate the model, not in real time, but every 4 or 5 days when they've got enough data to feel that we really need to be updating the model.
A man has suffered head injuries during a home invasion. Senior Constable Dave Muir says it happened at Jervois near Murray Bridge around 3:30 this morning.
3 male suspects forced their way into the house via a door before hitting the victim with pieces of timber and demanding that he hand over his firearms. Now, the victim refused, and the trio subsequently left with some keys to several vehicles.
The 50-year-old victim is being treated in hospital. The hunt for the offenders continues. A motorcyclist has been the victim of a hit-run at Hectorville. His bike collided with a car at the intersection of Gaffney Place and Montacute Road shortly before midnight. The driver of the vehicle failed to stop. The 41-year-old rider from nearby Campbelltown is in hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Australia will develop hypersonic missiles to help counter the ongoing military threat posed by China and Russia. Michael Packey has more from Canberra.
The long-range missiles will be built in Australia as part of the AUKUS deal between the US and Britain. They'll be able to travel at 5 times the speed of sound and can be fired from land, sea and air. The land missiles will be stationed in Australia, while the other types would be installed on our fighter jets and warships. The move is designed to counter advanced military military technology being developed by China and Russia. Under the AUKUS arrangement, Australia is also working with its allies to build nuclear submarines, undersea drones and artificial intelligence technology.
The new Premier will be front and centre in Canberra today. Peter Malinauskas will address the National Press Club at lunchtime. It comes a fortnight after the Labor leader was sworn into the state's top job. Ukraine's president has told the UN Security Council Moscow must be held accountable for the atrocities committed by the Russian army during its occupation. Volodymyr Zelensky showed a short but graphic video which included pictures of victims in mass graves, calling for Russia to be excluded from the Security Council. The BBC's Nada Tawfik reports.
President Zelensky's address to the council was devastating. He said the most terrible crime since the Second World War had been committed in Ukraine. Civilians in Bucha were killed in their homes, crushed by tanks, women raped and killed in front of their children. He accused Russia of deliberately killing as many civilians as possible to leave the country destroyed and in ruins, which Moscow denies. He urged reforms for a more effective UN for the next generation.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty. 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide forward Lockie Gallant says he still wants to bulk up a little bit more as he looks to cement his spot in the side. The 20-year-old booted 4 goals in the showdown and has revealed to Rowie he's put on about 15 kilos since being drafted.
Well, I'm sitting at about 85 kilos now. I'd like to get to sort of 90, just over 90. I think that'd be the ideal weight, but that'll probably change as I grow and get a bit more experience too.
The first Brisbane footballer to reach the 50-game milestone in the AFLW has been voted the best and fairest for 2022. Emily Bates says the surprise win comes after her home was caught up in the Queensland floods and the loss of her dad, who encouraged her to play.
He passed away when I was 15 and never got to see me get drafted or play in the grand final or anything like that. So obviously, yeah, this would definitely be for him, and I wish he was here to see it today, but I know he'd be really proud of everything I've been able to do.
Yeah, great speech. Let's go to cricket. Rookie bowler Nathan Ellis has helped steer Australia to victory in the standalone T20 match against Pakistan. Ellis took 4 wickets for 28 during Australia's 3-wicket win in Lahore. Captain Aaron Finch says Ellis has an unbelievable attitude and work ethic.
His ability to learn really quickly, whether it be with new ball, old ball, talking to experienced players, coaches, he's just got an amazing attitude that he brings to the table, and he's someone that the boys love playing with.
A great morning for English clubs in the Champions League. Liverpool beating Benfica 3-1, while Manchester City got over Atletico Madrid 1-0. And Tiger Woods has declared he's preparing to play at the Masters this week at Augusta. He says he doesn't turn up to tournaments he doesn't think he can win. That is ominous, and that is the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Win an incredible Henley Beach home plus $1 million cash in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Damp and greasy roads in a few areas this morning, so take some extra care on the drive into work today. And got some roadworks too. Ovingham, Torrens Road near Park Terrace. They're continuing both directions. Darlington works on the Flagstaff Road upgrade and also near the South Road intersection. Getting pretty slow at the moment. And we've got speeds reduced at Myrtle Bank for the intersection upgrade of Glen Osmond Road and Fullerton Road. Cameras, Red Banks Road, Kangaroo Flat, Bridge Road, Salisbury East. Get to Adelaide Oval this Saturday to watch the Adelaide Crows take on Melbourne in the 2022 NAB AFLW Grand Final. Tickets $10 at women's.afl. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
When glass breaks, call the experts at O'Brien.
O'Brien. 23, partly cloudy today, partly cloudy tomorrow, 24. Friday, mostly sunny and 26. Right now it's 15 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In times of loss, you need Embrace. Arranging Mum's funeral was never going to be easy. But Deanne Edwards from Embrace Funerals truly cared about delivering the perfect funeral to honour her life, to share our beautiful family memories, along with those of the many other lives she'd touched. Every detail of Mum's funeral was created with exceptional care and at a really affordable cost. Embrace Funerals gave us peace of mind. When funerals need to be perfect, choose Embrace.
So, why go with NRG Solar?
The solar system installed by NRG Solar has made us change our habits in relation to the use of electricity. We followed the advice to use most of the electricity, like the aircon, during the day, and so I think that's a way of forcing the prices down as well. We have solar monitoring, and I consult it most every day, and it's been very useful to see the trends.
Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Nick Chigwidden from Physio Extra talks about how One Solution streamlined their business.
At Physio Extra, we needed to upgrade our IT and communication systems, which is critical to us having a successful business. We spoke to the guys at One Solution, and they provided us with a fantastic strategy on how we could bring our phone and our IT under the one roof. The ongoing service and support they've provided us is also excellent. I certainly recommend One Solution for any business.
Visit onesolution.net.au, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award.
The world could be opening soon. So if you're planning to travel, now's the time to take a short language course at WEA. Chinese, Mandarin, French, Italian, Japanese, Greek and more. When it comes to language, you can WEA anything.
Visit 202greenhill.com.au and donate to cancer accommodation, research, prevention and support this April.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 8. Sean Fuster's in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. You can watch along on the 5AA Facebook or YouTube live stream, where we're proudly partnering with the Cancer Council SA, and Sean's brought to us by Crime Stoppers SA and Police Credit Union, supporting better communities. crimestopperssa.com.au. Always fascinating to chat with you, Sean, but I think it's rare the occasion where you're going to cover something that everyone listening has got a level of investment in, a level of stake in, and a view on, probably too.
Not to mention getting introduced with that particular Talking Heads song. I mean, talk about...
Well, that's
wow. Wow.
It wasn't relating to you specifically.
Are we sure?
No,
we're sure.
More your line of work.
That's
although
my point.
happily today, this is not a particularly brutal topic, but it's certainly one that fires people up on either side of the argument. So walk us through what are the sort of legal arguments that are going to be at the centre of the vax mandate case involving the Crows player?
This is phenomenal in terms of the scope and in terms of the interest that this is going to be. So Denny Van Hagen and a group of nurses, teachers, healthcare workers, childcare workers, except police officers, all challenged the vaccine mandate. They said that the vaccine mandate voids their right to bodily integrity. They said that the state government and the health authorities failed to explore all other reasonably practicable options for stopping the spread of COVID before imposing the vaccine mandate. They also challenged the efficacy of the vaccine itself on the basis that they say there's no proof that vaccines prevent the spread of the disease. They're not challenging what they do to you biologically in terms of whether or not they give you immunity. But the point is the mandate is designed to prevent the spread. They're saying that the vaccine can't prevent the spread, so you can't mandate that we have to take the vaccine in our jobs.
Because their view is you're not protecting anyone.
That's right.
Right.
Except yourself. They're also saying that the authorities, in terms of their internal communications, haven't shown any science. They're saying, for example, that the letter that went from Nicola Spurrier to the police, in their allegation, is 2 or 3 paragraphs that simply say, the science has come in, you need to put down this mandate, please do it immediately. They're saying, well, like math class, where are your workings? Where's the science? Where did you communicate that this is necessary?
Surely that
for these
second
reasons?
point will take about 2 minutes to dismiss. I mean, the idea that, you're only protecting yourself, well, if everybody protects themselves and makes themselves more shielded from it, then as a community, it's just the most intellectually bereft line of argument.
Well, I get that, but at the same time, scientifically,
the first
how do
point
you stop proving that the spread has changed as a result of that? Because we're still seeing people who are vaccinated get it. That's their argument.
Yeah.
You know.
So which then goes, presumably, then the government or the state will argue, well, part of our definition of protection is that we wanted to create a scenario whereby weren't people overrunning hospitals.
That's right.
Yeah. Well,
So
like the guy
the
yesterday
argument,
who survived and didn't die. The guy who wound up in
Yeah.
Westmead, but he's still alive because he was triply vaccinated. The first point seems to be the one that is really interesting, though. Like the coercion argument, their claim that they have a right to bodily integrity. How will the case potentially be affected, Sean, by the fact that we're now seeing the removal of vax mandates in some lines of work?
So the police officers and the teachers have already withdrawn themselves from this claim. They're saying that obviously there's no mandate affecting them anymore. However, they're also saying that they want their court costs reimbursed because they've proven that their case was correct. The fact that the cops and the teachers have taken off the vax mandate, they say means, well, we were right in the first place. And the state government's like, well, hang on, no, that's not why we removed the mandate. So we'll talk about that once everything else is done. So that's sort of now a sideline issue waiting for the determinative issue, which is about healthcare workers primarily, which of course brings us back to Denny Van Hagen, benched by the Crows because she wouldn't do the Crows vax mandate, then benched effectively by SA Health because she wouldn't do that vax mandate either.
Is it a bit scattergun, the approach, do you think, Sean? Or is this just the standard way these kind of trials begin with, you know, oh, you weren't empowered to do this. Oh, and by the way, your reasons were wrong, and you can't even prove that. You know, it feels like there's so many. It feels a bit Jackson Pollockish, the whole the defence.
With no disrespect to anybody involved, I think this has been a massive moving feast.
Yep.
Because the nature of COVID, the nature of the pandemic, the nature of waves has changed this repeatedly. You know, you start with one footballer/nurse. Then other people join the action, which brings in other mandates and other considerations. Then some mandates drop. Then, as we've seen, the trial's been put off 3 times. You know, one of those times because government solicitors caught COVID and ended up in isolation, and another time because the judge was in isolation with a family member who had COVID. So, you know, this, and I'm hearing, who knows, but I'm hearing this morning that apparently one of the key witnesses is going to be unavailable today.
Yeah.
Because there's some illness questions there, not necessarily COVID, but some illness questions. So when you're trying to get something on this quickly, because as they said, the mandate is only going to last a particular amount of time. If you bring this lawsuit after all the mandates drop, you fail the test of utility. Why are you actually in court for something that's already finished and done? You can take different action to try to get back lost wages or argue this or argue that, but you can't be seeking to challenge the mandate once the mandate's over.
It's going to have interesting ramifications for the private sector. And in a way, Denny Van Hagen is the perfect example of that because she's got a government battle in terms of currently still unable to work. She was an ICU nurse at Flinders Medical Centre. So she's still barred from that because there's a mandate in place there. Yet, what's her status with the Adelaide Football Club, which is a private entity that has adopted its own rules, preventing her from playing? Do you think that for the Crows it's potentially more of a headache than it is for SA Health?
Well, the Crows mandate isn't being challenged. You know, that's not part of this lawsuit. It's only the lawsuit. And I mean, it's not really a lawsuit. Let's call it what it is. It's called a judicial review. You're asking a judge to look at a law or look at a regulation and say, is this or is this not just? Kind of what Daniel and I do every Sunday, but, you know, with some actual power behind it.
But wouldn't it follow, though, that there's if this judicial review finds that mandates are without foundation, how could Channel 9 justify no longer employing Warren Tredrea? How could the Crows justify no longer employing Van Hagen as an athlete?
And that's exactly the question from here, the extrapolation of that. The first port of call is, is the court going to say, no, the mandates should be struck down? If so, then what's the consequence for those mandates that were already dropped for people that were part of this lawsuit? And then finally, what's the ramification for that for everybody else? And if we're at a point where, you know, as the Premier's saying, some mandates in terms of masks are going to drop on the 14th, is this all going to come through in time before the mandates cease to exist anyway? And that's where the question of utility comes up. How soon can you do this? Because, of course, in a different world, Denny Van Hagen would be playing on the weekend. She'd be in the grand final again.
Yeah. So does it establish precedent? If it's a judicial review, does it establish a precedent by which these other things could be challenged and damages could be sought? Is it too specific?
It's absolutely a could be.
Right.
It's saying, let's say, for example, that, and this is a really bad analogy, but I'm going to use it anyway, this judicial review ends up saying, this is a spanner. It may or may not fit over every nut and bolt you try to use it on, but you can absolutely try to use it and see how you go.
Right.
So this creates a legal tool that can be used in these other situations. Whether it works or whether it doesn't depends on the vagaries of those other specific legal circumstances. Because, of course, again, it's one thing to say the government has put down an unjust decision which affects the broader scope of society. But can you say the Crows have done that when they're a private entity that have the right to make their own decisions and yada, 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 etc.?
It's going to be fascinating to watch. So people can do it on the Tizer website, obviously, but we should give a shout out to your Twitter account as well, because you often tweet details and things as they come to hand. You are at Sean Fuster, which is easy to remember because that's your name. At Sean Fuster on Twitter. How long do you reckon this whole thing will take to wind up, health permitting?
Yeah, health permitting, it's listed for the next 3 days. So
okay.
This is the rest of my week,
right.
And certainly the rest of the court's week.
But theoretically, by next time we chat, we'll know.
We might. That's the thing, because they're saying that there may be necessary another 2 days of argument at a subsequent date for each side to give its closing addresses. I mean, we're going to have potentially Nicola Spurrier, Grant Stevens, vaccine experts for both sides, health experts, public servants coming in and giving information and evidence. It's, a cast of thousands potentially. That evidence should hopefully be finished by Friday. But whether or not Her Honour Justice Hughes has been able to sit and make a decision before then, who knows?
Yeah. Fascinating.
Amazing.
Look forward to your coverage, Sean. Look forward to chatting about it when it's all wrapped up.
Thanks, guys, and we'll probably end up doing something about it on Just Lawful
You will.
eventually too.
You're talking about the free flow of information, or perhaps not so, on Sunday.
Kind of ironic, given the fact that there's been all sorts of assertions about what the Courts Administration Authority has and hasn't done in terms of facilitating this trial to the broader public. But what Daniel and I are going to be talking about Sunday night is what happens when the bureaucracy decides that it is going to stand in the way of the free flow of information between the courts and the public.
Always a fascinating chat and a fascinating listen. Good on you, Sean.
Thanks, guys.
Sean Fuster,
Thanks,
around the courts each and every Wednesday morning on 5AA Breakfast, then Just Lawful on Sunday evenings. Let's check traffic. Win an incredible Henley Beach home plus $1 million in cash in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Thanks, Will. Look out for a smash at Clemzig, North East Road near OG Road. Delays inbound. McDonald Park intersection upgrade works continue. Heasley Road near Curtis Road. Darlington, we're seeing delays for the Flagstaff Road upgrade near the South Road intersection, and Myrtle Bank speeds reduced for the intersection works of Cross Road and Fullerton Road. Cameras this morning, Goodman Road, Elizabeth South, President Avenue, Andrews Farm. Experience in a Porto Bondi Burger meal for just $9.95 today. Fresh Portuguese grilled chicken breast burger with chips and a drink for a limited time only at a Porto. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Thanks Frydenberg and ScoMo for the $250. That works out to $1.60 a week over the next 3 years. Tell them they're dreaming. Vote 1 United Australia Party. Authorised by Clive Palmer for the United Australia Party, Brisbane.
As one door closes, another opens for your chance to win the new $4 million grand prize in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. The fully furnished Scott Salisbury home in Henley Beach has it all, including $1 million cash, with over 10,000 prizes to win, including luxury cars and getaways. You don't want to miss this one. Join the fight and get your tickets today at homelottery.com.au. Licence M141166.
Fast Movers SA recognises the most innovative, smartest and fastest growing South Australian businesses.
If your business turns over 200,000 plus per year, then nominate now at fastmoverssa.com.au.
Nominations are open until April 29, and thanks to the Fast Movers SA sponsors, there are some pretty amazing prizes to be won.
And at 5AA, we love celebrating South Australian businesses, and that's exactly what the Fast Movers SA competition does, recognising South Australia's fastest growing, most innovative and arguably smartest businesses.
So put yourself out there. Nominate now at fastmoverssa.com.au. Proudly supported by 1395 Adelaide's 5AA.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easy for property investors and the tenants of their properties. Everyone is treated with integrity and respect. That's the Lynn Andrews way. For commercial and residential property management, we are here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. When you need a forklift, don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Get the world's #1 forklift brand. Get legendary Toyota reliability, get world-leading safety, and get it from toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For sales, service and hire, get a Toyota forklift.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
You don't know what it's like.
Help create a home for South Australians impacted by cancer. Visit 202greenhill.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
7 to 8, 15.8 degrees outside at the moment, top of 23 today, 24 Thursday, 26 Friday, 27 on Saturday and 28 on Sunday. It cools down for the start of next week, 23 on Monday with chance of a little shower, 22 on Tuesday with, again, a chance of a mill of rain, which is similar to what we had forecast yesterday and then received a hell of a lot more than that. Forecast up to 2. We got 5 mils of rain officially, with the highest falls recorded in Coromandel East, 11 mils. Then you go to Alden Noarlunga, 9.8, Marion 8, Woodside 7, Morphett Vale 6.8, Keswick 6.4, and the Adelaide Airport got 6.2. So west through the south got a decent bit of rain yesterday where we weren't necessarily expecting it.
Beautiful.
How about this for a young muso?
If I'd been out till 2:45, would you lock the door? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
This would be a real buzz if you're into music, you're a young person. The Forthland Sessions are named for the childhood home of Paul McCartney and his brother Mike. They've just announced 20 Forthland Road is a new program that will allow unsigned young artists to go into the home, that house where they grew up, and the Beatles got together to write and record, well, certainly write their early music. You can go in there and do it. You can go in there and do it. They wrote When I'm 64 there. I saw her standing there, was written at the Forthland Studios at 20 Forthland Road that are now the Forthland Studios. But they want it to be an inspiration for young, unsigned, up-and-coming artists. That'd be pretty cool. We go along to where Paul McCartney and John Lennon started knocking out some of the greatest hits of all time.
I didn't know anything about Paul's brother. Was he musical too? He must have been.
I don't know. The way they speak about it, it sounds like he was, because it's all the language they use is about the two of them loving music there in the home. But it is your classic quintessential Liverpudlian British home. It's very quaint and small, but the history that would be there to go along and draw some inspiration from, I think it's a fantastic idea. Good on them, Paul and Mike.
I still haven't seen the documentary that you raved about, Will. I haven't got to do it.
You just got to set aside 8 hours of your time, and it's good. I can't actually remember how long it is. It is long though, multiple parts.
Hey, can we talk about this Marion Council story? Have you read that story about the father who's built the outside cubby house for his stepdaughter?
Yes,
and it's less of a story about the council, even though they sound like they're being pretty pedantic. But it's more a story about the number of pedants who reside among our number.
Yeah,
because clearly one of the neighbours has dobbed this bloke in, saying that the tree house, the timber tree house that he's built, is too big. I mean, what occupies somebody's mind that
by
they
1
get
square
upset
metre
by the size of a treehouse? It's 1 square metre bigger than a treehouse is legally meant to be.
Apparently, it's technically called a deck, which I found funny because could you imagine convincing any adults to go up there to have a tea party or something, have a cheese platter? Like, there's no way it's a deck. It's a cubby house. We're going to speak with them.
You just read the wording in the letter. The structure is neither a cubby/tree house by definition, but is more accurately defined as a deck. Unfortunately, council have no record of this structure being approved. To this end, the structure is unlawful. Unbelievable.
We'll be speaking with the Mayor of Marion, Chris Hanna, at 8:35 this morning about that very issue. Let's hear from John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight Distribution, Warehousing and Local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
The federal government has been bombarded with hundreds and hundreds of people who work at KFC and Bunnings applying to work on the nuclear submarines. Yeah, you can't be quickly trained up to build a nuclear submarine. Sorry. So, the top 5 reasons it's not a good idea to hire KFC workers to build nuclear submarines. Number 5. Because when you're creating precision space-age technology for the defence of your country, it's not enough to say, would you like torpedoes with that? Thank you, yeah. Number 4. Because a nuclear submarine has hundreds of thousands of working parts and you've only ever worked with 5 or 10 pieces. Number 3. Because you can't keep referring to the nuclear reactor as the hot and spicy bit. Number 2. Because if you find you're having trouble building a nuclear submarine because you've never built one before, you can't tell the government to go and sit in the waiting bay. When I've built it, I'll bring it out to you, okay? And the number 1 reason that it's not a good idea to hire KFC workers to build nuclear submarines, because the fact that originally the French were going to build them and the fact that you've had experience cooking French fries still doesn't qualify you! Sorry! I was going to throw in a 377-foot sub. Take a week to eat that, but that's Subway, so...
Magnificent, John Blake. That said, I think number 2's incorrect. I think quite literally the government gets told to sit in the waiting bay when these major defence projects are going on.
Yes.
I think that's exactly what happens.
Years
we'll bring
and
it to you
years.
when we're ready. It'll be around 2050. 5AA News on the way, breaking at 8 next.
Peaceful living awaits at the 19th at West, with golf course views, tree-lined walking trails, a new cafe and retail shopping precinct. The best of the West is at your fingertips, with new 3 and 4 bedroom designs and prices beginning from just $730K. It's no surprise 19th at West is selling quickly. Discover the new collection today. The19thwest.com.au. Delivered by Commercial and General, proudly creating South Australian communities for 25 years.
It's a frightening thought. But what if you lost capacity to manage your financial affairs? If you're not at the helm, who makes medical or health decisions? Who gets your superannuation? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers will answer your questions and help carry out your wishes to the letter. Wills and estate planning. Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com.
How do you know if the milk you're buying is local? Easy. Just look for 3 words. Flurio Milk Company. If the bottle you pick up has those 3 words on it, Flurio Milk Company, it's guaranteed to be local. It's guaranteed to be fresh too. And the big plus, you're supporting SA dairy farmers, and for that, we're forever grateful. 3 words. Flurio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
It's not often you get to go behind the scenes of one of Adelaide's top home builders. Well, at Beechwood Homes, you can. The stunning Beechwood display home at Blackwood Park has just been sold, but that doesn't mean you miss out. Call Steve from Beechwood and he'll take you behind the scenes of other Beechwood masterpieces currently under construction. You'll get an incredible insight into what makes Beechwood Homes an SA favourite. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 23 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact premierpanel.com.au. RAA approved crash repairer.
The new Premier will address the National Press Club today. Peter Malinauskas is in Canberra ahead of the speech at lunchtime and has shared a video on social media. He says most premiers go on about a parochial issue and fight on their state's behalf, but he's taking a different approach.
That's not what I'm going to talk about today at the National Press Club, because I actually want to put South Australia's best foot forward when it comes to contributing to a fair Australia into the long term. We've got a challenge in our country at the moment where the cost of living is going up and wages thus far haven't shown as much movement as that is required to be able to keep pace with the rate of inflation.
Another school is set to close due to COVID. Brighton High has been hit hard by teacher shortages and will revert to remote learning till Tuesday. There are now 35,000 active COVID cases in the state. Chief Public Health Officer Professor Nicholas Spurrier says the best protection is to be fully vaccinated, with around 30% of people yet to get their booster.
Whatever reason they think, well, maybe I've had COVID and I don't need it, or 2 doses seem to be what the government told me to start with. The really clear message is you need 3 doses.
A man has been hospitalised after a hit run at Hectorville. His motorbike and a car collided at an intersection late last night. The 41-year-old has non-life-threatening injuries. Senior Constable Dave Muir is appealing for the public's help after the driver left the scene.
Witnesses did report seeing a white car that may have been involved in the crash. We are asking any witnesses to that crash or anyone who has any information that could assist police, give us a call at Crime Stoppers 1800 333 000.
Australia, the US and UK have struck a deal to develop hypersonic missiles in a move indicating the arms race is heating up. The missiles can travel at least 5 times the speed of sound. The agreement has been reached under the AUKUS Pact. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has given a fiery address detailing the atrocities Russian forces have committed in his country. US correspondent Alison Petrowski reports.
President Zelensky likened Russia to ISIS and said they were committing war crimes akin to that of the Nazis in World War II, calling on the Security Council to remove Russia's right to veto. The Ukrainian leader also gave confronting details about the atrocities committed in Bucha, saying some civilians appeared to be executed, gunned down in their own homes.
The civilians were crushed by tanks while sitting in their cars in the middle of the road, just for their pleasure.
The UN representative for China said while his country supports an investigation into what unfolded in the town, he warned not to rush judgment. Meantime, the White House will introduce further sanctions against Russia tomorrow in coordination with European Union and G7 leaders.
Social media platform Twitter is working on an edit button. The idea is that you'll be able to fix any typos or errors in a tweet without sacrificing any replies, retweets or likes that it's already received. Users have been asking for the feature for years. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty. 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide and Melbourne will name their sides tonight ahead of tomorrow night's crucial clash at Adelaide Oval. The Power are almost certain to bring back Robbie Gray after he missed due to COVID protocols last week, while Sam Skinner should also be okay. And defender Tom Cleary remains an outside chance to come back from a knee injury. Well, the AFLW Best and Fairest award has been won by Brisbane's Emily Bates, who edged out Adelaide's Anne Hatchard by a single vote. But Hatchard was still one of 4 Crows who made the All-Australian side, along with Sarah Allen, Ebony Marinoff and Ashley Woodland. To cricket, Australia has finished its tour of Pakistan on a high after taking out the T20 match against Pakistan in Lahore by 3 wickets. Chasing 163 to win, Ben McDermott hit the winning runs on the first ball of the final over.
Leg side, and there's 4 runs. That's it. Australia have done it.
Yeah, great result. That audio thanks to Fox. Well, how about this? Tiger Woods has sent the golfing world into meltdown after declaring he's good enough to win this year's US Masters. He's declared he will line up when the tournament begins late Thursday night, our time, and he says he won't be making up the numbers.
You don't enter a golf tournament unless you think that you can win it. So the question is simple. Do you think you can win the Masters this week?
I do.
There you go. Well, a great start for English clubs in the European Champions League quarter-final ties. Liverpool recorded a 3-1 win against Benfica, while Manchester City enjoyed a 1-0 victory against Atletico Madrid. And in some tennis to finish, Aussie Nick Kyrgios has just won the second set in his first-round match against Mackenzie McDonald in Houston. The match being played on clay is now into a third and deciding set. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Get your tickets today for the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery's biggest ever $4 million grand prize.
At Clemzig Smash on North East Road near OG Road, that's got heavy delays inbound at the moment. Avoid that if you can. Got works continuing West Hindmarsh, their drainage works. Port Road near South Road. It's outbound, 1 lane out of action, speeds reduced down to 40 k's and speeds also reduced at Myrtle Bank for the intersection upgrade works of Glen Osmond Road and Fullerton Road. Got a camera, Andrews Road, Andrews Farm. Telstra Day is on this Thursday. Get unreal deals on a range of phones, accessories and more. Don't miss it. This Thursday only. Shop in-store or online. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
When glass breaks, call the experts at O'Brien.
O'Brien. A partly cloudy day on the way, 23. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 24. Friday, mostly sunny, 26. Right now, it's 16 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Help create a home for South Australians impacted by cancer. Visit 202greenhill.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Seven minutes after 8, coming up after 8:30 this morning. I'm going to speak with the Mayor of Marion, Chris Hanna, with regard to this Cubby House story on front page of the Tiser it's been ordered. It has to be pulled down, basically, because it's a metre squared beyond what's the designated size of a cubby house. Apparently it's a deck. We're going to talk more about that. But if you want to win yourself a couple of Gomersall wines, we have some rippers to give away. Let us know when you've been the subject of a complaint. It doesn't need to be council. Doesn't need to be council. It could be anything. It could be you've just been subject of a complaint. Now, not you, David. We have a wealth of potential entries here. What day of the week is it? It's Wednesday. We've probably had already 900 this week. When have you been the subject of a complaint? Let us know, and you can win those excellent Gomersall wines. Remember, too, you can watch along on the 5AA Facebook live stream right throughout the morning on Facebook or YouTube, proudly partnering with Cancer Council SA.
Well, today in Breaking It Up, we want to look at a story that on the face of it is a bad cost of living story, but it potentially has the has the possibility of being a less bad cost of living story for those of us lucky enough to live in South Australia. I was reading yesterday, there's some interesting new analysis that the University of Melbourne has released about electricity prices, and it's being described as a perfect storm at the moment for a number of reasons, but the wholesale electricity price has surged so much in the first quarter of this year. The federal government had predicted that there'd be an increase of about $70 per megawatt hour in the wholesale electricity price. Well, what has happened is that prices have actually risen by more than $100 an hour in the first 3 months of this year. But South Australia is at the lower end. We're about 64% higher. But when you look at Queensland, it's 284% higher than it was expected to be. Now, the rise is being attributed by Melbourne Uni to a few factors. One is simply that demand has been higher, particularly across Queensland, and that was due to the flooding in February. Now, the weather on the East Coast has played a huge part in this too, because it's made it harder to supply enough coal into power stations in New South Wales and also Queensland. There are power stations there that still aren't working. The other component is soaring international prices for coal and gas are making it costlier to produce electricity from fossil fuels in Australia. But the interesting thing for us here in SA is that because we in Victoria are connected to Victorian generators, they've been protected because the brown coal that feeds our market is not exported overseas. But the thing that's actually putting us in better stead in South Australia is that we are now the least fossil fuel reliant state. We get more power here proportionally from renewables now, and the system is much more stable, in large part thanks to the work the Libs did over the last 4 years with that guy who was going to be leader, Dan Van Holst Pelican, who lost his seat. But having said that, particularly given that all of the power companies, or a lot of the power companies, have a national footprint, there looks like an inevitable price increase that's going to hit the whole country. It might be lower here in winter than it is elsewhere, but it's still coming nevertheless. Now, one thing, and it was actually my dad who alerted me to this, it might be worth checking your power bills, because it looks like a few of the power companies are engaging in a bit of sleight of hand to cover their costs, because, and I've subsequently checked my emails, and I got one too, but my dad was saying that he just got this sort of hooray email from his electricity supplier saying that they were now charging less for the base rate for power. But what they've done is they've spectacularly increased the supply charge up to a point where the overall cost of the bill is greater than it was before, even though the sort of unit price for power is lower.
Yeah, right.
The supply charge is actually where they're absolutely cashing it in. So pretty uncertain times energy-wise, and might pay to check your bills. And also, as Koshi often says to us, if they do hit you with something, just ring them up, because often they'll just fold like an umbrella and go, all right, we'll put you on a different plan.
Yeah, that's sneaky stuff. If anyone else spots that, do let us know. 0448 08 1395, or give us a call on 8223 0000, like Tony has, who has been the subject of a complaint and therefore is in the running to win some excellent Gomersall wines. Tony, what did someone complain about you?
Yeah, guys, I had a sulphur crest cockatoo, and anyone that's had one of them knows that they're characters, and I had multiple councils knocking on my door that neighbours had complained at the noise. His language wasn't the best, I will say, and he was always off at about 6 a.m, and then at 6 p.m. in the evening when the sun would go down, he apparently interrupted people's garden parties. He'd wake people up at 6 a.m, so I had to hurriedly sort of get him covered with a blanket hidden away when the council would come calling.
That's excellent, Tony.
What was his name,
with
Tony?
bad language?
Anarchy was his name, and he created Anarchy. Yeah, his language,
Anarchy.
I think the language he learned off my ex-wife. It wouldn't have been off me. But,
Yeah. Oh, it was her fault, yeah.
Good on you, Tony. That's a strong early contender. When have you been the subject of a complaint? We're going to be talking about the Cubby House complaint issue that's on the front page of the Times this morning. We'll do that after 8:30 today. Thanks to
Have you ever seen, and look, don't look it up if you're offended by really, really bad language, but there's a thing on YouTube called Most Australian Thing Ever, involving a sulphur-crested cockatoo.
Oh, no, I've not seen it.
And it's jumping up and down on a Vegemite branded doona cover, shouting at a dog. And the language that this cockatoo uses is just the most extraordinary thing.
I've got a homework assignment.
But as I said, don't blame me if you're a prude, and if you're offended by bad language, don't look it up.
Okay. Good warning. Hey, big thanks to Sue's texted us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line too. Sue says Paul McCartney's brother was in a band called the Scaffold, and they had a hit with Lily the Pink. The Scaffold was
really?
a band, but he played it. I just looked.
That was a big hit, Lily the Pink.
I looked it up. He was a member of the band under the name Mike McGear. He is Paul McCartney's brother, whose name is Mike McCartney, who we spoke about. Yeah, he spoke. He played under a different name. As you might well imagine, he probably didn't want to have that.
Yeah, so it was like
hanging over him.
the Trevor Chapel of music.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's have a look at some of the stories knocking around this morning. One of them involves the Premier of South Australia, who's in Canberra, as he's explained in a little Twitter video that he did, I think, post-run this morning.
I just thought I'd check in and let people know why I'm in Canberra. I'm here to give a speech at the National Press Club today, which is quite the opportunity, and I thought I'd give everyone in South Australia a bit of a heads up about what I intend to talk about today. Rare chance to speak on the national stage at an important forum. I actually want to put South Australia's best foot forward when it comes to contributing to a fairer Australia into the long term. We've got a challenge in our country at the moment where the cost of living is going up, and wages thus far haven't shown as much movement as that is required to be able to keep pace.
So he's been the Premier for 4 weeks, and he's already acting like the Prime Minister. Is that what's going on here? He's got to address the nation.
I like the breathless quality of the address to the nation as well. So he's speaking. He's at the press club. He's speaking at the National Press Club. I think it was a good idea that he made that video, because it might be the full extent of the coverage he gets.
Yes.
There's every chance the Prime Minister's going to announce the election date today.
Yeah. So
May 21.
Might be the greatest, most statesman-like speech in history, but tree falls in a forest doesn't make any sound.
Is the post-run oration going to become a thing?
I don't know. Well, maybe it will. Maybe it's when he's at his clearest.
With the young Liberals chasing him this morning.
Yeah. You kept all the
Don't
language
say it.
entirely
Don't
appropriate.
say it.
Yeah, okay. Hey, let's have a look at the fuel situation. Fuel Watch, thanks to the FIVEaa app, which you can download for free and see where the cheapest fuel is in an instant. The cheapest we've been able to find it, Liberty Main North Road, Blair Athol, $1.54.5. Just continues to come down at the moment. Ampol on O'Connell Street in North Adelaide, $1.55.9. The On The Run South Road Darlington, $1.58.9. Diesel's still higher, but the cheapest has come off that $2 a litre high. It's now as good as $1.76.7 at the United Main North Road in Paraka. So pretty good time to fill up if you're nudging empty at the moment. Time to check traffic, and we do so thanks to the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery giving away their biggest ever $4 million grand prize.
Thanks, Will. And Clemzig smash on North East Road near OG Road. Heavy delays back to St Alta Road. McDonald Park intersection upgrade works continue Heathleap Road near Curtis Road. Slow going at the moment at Darlington with the Flagstaff Road upgrade near South Road, and speeds reduced Myrtle Bank for the intersection upgrade of Glen Osmond Road and Fullerton Road. Busy South Road near Anzac Highway, and look out for a camera this morning, Goodman Road, Elizabeth South. Keep your family safe on the road these holidays. Pop into Bob J T-Marts for a free tyre safety check. Call 1326 25 today. They'll look after you. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowies Sport Show.
They smoked the Poms by 71 runs in the final. Joining us is our skipper, Meg Lanning. Meg, unbelievable. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's just starting to sort of really sink in now.
4 p.m. weekdays.
Can you let your hair down? Are you that type, Meg? I know. Can you? And did you? Did you get 3 votes? Did you get yourself on the podium, Meg Lanning?
I don't think I was on the podium, but I certainly did have a lot of fun and enjoy myself.
Rowies Sport Show on 5AA.
Thanks Frydenberg and ScoMo for the $250. That works out to $1.60 a week over the next 3 years. Tell them they're dreaming. Vote 1 United Australia Party. Authorised by Clive Palmer for the United Australia Party, Brisbane.
Speak with One Solution and they'll tell you cybercrime is not a big business problem, a government problem, or a small enterprise problem. It's everyone's problem. Ransomware, malware, and adware remain the #1 threat. One call to One Solution will put your business in a safe place. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Get in touch with One Solution, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award. onesolution.net.au.
Gomersall Wines know how to make a great wine, and they know how to make a perfect match for the Easter long weekend. I love this winery. The wine is so good. They're offering 5AA listeners a special deal. How about this? 30% off.
Now, despite watching Master of Solomon twice, I'm not a sommelier, but here's what you could do. You could pair your milk chocky eggs with a Shiraz. Now, you won't get that. You won't get that in France, I'm telling you right now, but you will here. You could stick your hot cross bun with a vintage fortified wine. How about that?
I love that idea.
That's how Easter was meant to be celebrated, isn't it?
What about you wouldn't do this on Good Friday, but what about a bacon sandwich with a bottle of sparkling red? Now, check out the Gomersall Wines online shop. It's a sensational website. That's how I ordered my 2 dozen last year, and it was when they had their excellent discounts. They always have excellent discounts at Gomersall Wines. The website is Gomersall Wines, GOMERSAL, as in the town, and when you check out, enter the code 5AA, all one word, FIVEaa, and you will save 30%, plus they'll throw in a free Magnum valued at $50 with every dozen purchased.
Take advantage of this amazing offer just in time for the Easter long weekend. 30% off plus a free Magnum with every dozen purchased. Go to Gomersall Wines website for this special 5AA offer. Visit gomersallwines.com.au.
It's okay to want more, which is why more and more people choose Mawson Lakes Volkswagen to service their car, especially Volkswagen owners. At Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, we offer state-of-the-art servicing, complimentary loan cards, next-day servicing, and breakfast or lunch is on us. Why? Because when you're Adelaide's newest Volkswagen dealer, you want to give more. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city. Visit mawsonlakesvw.com.au and book your service today.
If you want to feel great about the milk you pour in your tea and coffee, over your cereal, or in your smoothie, make sure it's from the Flurio Milk Company, because it's a great feeling buying from people who love SA as much as you do. 3 words make all the difference. Flurio Milk Company, South Australian and proud of it. Whew, feel like a cuppa now.
Flurio Milk Company, celebrating 15 years of SA business. FlurioMilkco.com.au.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Baby, what a big surprise.
Visit 202greenhill.com.au and donate to cancer accommodation, research, prevention and support this April.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes after 8. I shouldn't have watched that video in the ad break you suggested, David. Oh, God.
It is extraordinary, isn't it? As I said, don't watch it if you're a prude.
No, don't. Definitely don't. Oh,
the best
God.
thing is the woman shouting at the cockatoo, isn't it?
She's very calm. Yeah.
Don't say that.
Don't call him that.
Don't call him that.
I wasn't prepared for that, and I shouldn't have watched it 30 seconds before coming back on a live radio. I'm glad I turned the volume down. All right, let's get
Hey,
it
mate,
together
I'll be back
here.
tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow.
Oh, you got some good news, have you?
I got my official text from the good people at SA Health. Thanks again, and apologies again for the vicious treatment meted out by our 4-year-old. But yeah, I saw the same nurse yesterday. It was actually quite embarrassing. She said, "Oh, you're back again." I said, "Yes, happily I haven't brought my toddler with me this time." She gave me a good schnozzing though. I think it was payback for what happened the other day.
Yeah, no, that's good. It doesn't feel good in the moment, but afterwards you reflect and think,
hit the back of my head.
Yeah, it's good to know where it is sometimes. Not
Yeah.
all the time. Well, that's good news. Good to hear it. Your immune system is, as I said, I would like to think Nicholas Berry might call you later and take you up on my offer of your body being donated for medical science. 23 minutes after 8. This is a really lovely initiative. Mark and Stefan, who's our next guest, own a wine business here in South Australia called Wine Direct. And what they're doing with it is raising money for victims of Ukraine through Caritas Australia. They're donating $100 from every wine pack that they've put together for $250. Then they give it to the cause. If you look at some of the wineries and the wines that are involved in this, you get a sense of all the excellent South Australian wineries that have come together to support what is a terrific cause. Pasha, Heirloom, Hesketh. You've got Leonard Brothers, Montero, Matolo. There's a whole heap. Chalk Hill. I won't read them all out, but it's a wonderful initiative.
Good wineries.
Stefan Lipkiewicz joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Stefan, good morning to you.
Good morning, David and Will. How are you both?
We're great, mate. Tell us how did this come to pass? I know you've got a bit of a personal connection to the situation in Ukraine.
We have. I suppose I'll start with, we basically, Mark Pratt and I started winedirect.com.au some 25 years ago. Our parents obviously came to Australia after World War II, like many other sort of Europeans. And obviously we're very connected and have family in the region, as well as my cousin had to evacuate out of the region just recently.
Where was your cousin, Stefan? Was he in Kyiv or in another city?
He was in Kyiv, and he'd been there for some 7 years setting up a business, and he'd married a beautiful Ukrainian girl. He had a 1-year-old son, and as obviously the Russian invasion continued, they had to evacuate, and he had a really sort of sticky situation where he ended up driving to the Polish border, but about 25 kilometres away, the car failed. Can you imagine that? It's snowing, it's minus 10 degrees, he's got a 1-year-old luggage, and they had to sort of track about 25 kilometres in the middle of the night to finally get the safety. And yes, he's back in Australia and safe now, but it's just horrific what is happening and what Russia's doing to Ukraine at the moment.
Unbelievable. And your business partner, Mark, so he's got a relative who's Ukrainian who was in Bali when the war broke out and now can't get back. And what she's had to leave her business behind and is now moving to Adelaide.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the same as my cousin. They both basically lost everything they've got. They've lost their business, they've lost their houses, they've lost their cars. At this stage, they've lost everything. And sort of after nearly 7 to 10 years of hard work, they're both coming back to restart in Australia. Obviously, they're Australian citizens. They're born here. So they'll make a start. And to be quite frank, we're just grateful that they're home and they're safe.
Mm.
Oh, just extraordinary.
It is just amazing. So how do you set up from here in South Australia, the process of setting this up and making sure the money gets to the people that need it? How does that work, Stefan?
We obviously investigated this pretty carefully, so we wanted to make sure that every cent we could got to the people on the ground, to the children, to the women, to the displaced people. I mean, as we know, over 6.5 million people have been displaced, and well over 4 million now have crossed into other countries. So we ended up looking at a number of options, and we decided on Caritas Australia, who have given us some great support, and they've actually got an office in Ukraine. So we've actually communicated with them to make sure as much as possible of the money, and 92% of every cent that we raise goes directly to the people of Ukraine, which is really exciting.
Just phenomenal. Stefan, thank you, mate. People can go to winedirect.com.au/Ukraine if you want to buy a dozen and support people in Ukraine. It's a wonderful idea and well executed. Stefan Lipkiewicz, who was one of the owners, along with Mark, who have put this package together. I think it's a wonderful idea. And look,
I can't
it's a
stress
fun way to
enough
support
how
them.
good it is a fun way to support them. But I'll tell you what, they've done a really, really good job picking the wine. So the actual retail value of this dozen is $511, but it costs $250. So you're getting the wine for less than half price. And there's a lot of wines on it that have won major awards. It's got the famous Leo Buring Clare Valley Riesling. That is the world's most underrated Riesling, or underpriced, I should say, Riesling. It's not underrated because it's won 9 different gold medals, and it's got 95 points in the wine ratings. But yeah, you'd buy it for that wine alone. It's a lovely wine.
27 minutes after 8, Tom's texted in saying, "Angry Eric the Cockatoo YouTube video just made my day." Thank you, Tom. He's got no problem with bad language. 5AA News is coming up in just a moment. If you've ever been the subject of a complaint, we'd love to hear from you. You might win yourself a pack of Gomersall wines, because we're going to talk about this treehouse that's the subject of the front page of the Tiser this morning. It's been directed to be taken down because it's slightly too big to be designated official treehouse. It falls into the deck category, apparently. So we'll talk with the mayor about that specific story. But if you've ever been the subject of a complaint yourself, it might have been difficult, but for telling the story, you might win yourself some Gomersall wines. We'll get into that in just a moment.
Did you know that South Australian explorer John Horrocks was shot and killed by his own camel? His shotgun, still in the animal's pack, accidentally discharged as his camel moved to kneel down, mortally wounding poor John. Actually true. And did you know that all Automasters service and repair centres offer repair now, pay later options? Absolutely true. Switch and save on logbook servicing, repairs, brakes, aircon and more. Call 1300 Automasters. Great service, guaranteed.
Hey, it's Callum here. As a chef, I know that confidence in the kitchen equals success. The same goes for buying a new Mazda. You can feel confident in the team at Edwardstown Mazda because they've been doing it for years. Looking for something small, medium or large, Edwardstown Mazda have most models in stock, ready to drive away. But remember, everybody wants to drive a Mazda in 2022, so hurry.
It's gotta be
edwardstownmazda.com.au. LMVD 207428.
You deserve to enjoy doing what you're passionate about. Gardening, for example, or walking to keep fit. So if your body is stopping you from enjoying the life you want, come and see us at SportsMed. Our Stepney Healthcare Hub includes our own hospital, orthopaedic surgeons, doctors, physios and podiatrists, so we can see to your care from diagnosis to rehabilitation, all in one place. Easy. Get back to doing what you love. sportsmed.com.au.
When you're gone, who gets your vintage bottle top collection? The cricket bat you scored your first ton with? Or that precious family heirloom that's been handed down from generation to generation? If you don't have a will, you'll never know. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, one thing is certain. You can trust Donlan Lawyers to help protect your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 23 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Had a bingle driving to work? Contact Premier Panel Services at premierpanel.com.au.
Peter Malinaskis will be on the national stage today. Just 2 weeks into his new job as Premier, he's addressing the National Press Club. He's in Canberra for the speech at lunchtime. 3 masked men have carried out a home invasion near Murray Bridge. The trio hit the resident of the Jervois property with pieces of wood, demanding he hand over his firearms. He refused and the men left with keys to several vehicles. The 50-year-old victim is being treated for head injuries. Investigations are continuing. There's been a hit run at Hectorville. Senior Constable Dave Muir says it happened late last night.
Around 11:45 last night, police and emergency services were called to the intersection of Gaffney Place and Montacute Road following reports of a crash between a motorbike and a car. Now, the driver of the car allegedly failed to stop at that scene.
The rider, a 41-year-old man from Campbelltown, was taken to hospital where he remains with non-life-threatening injuries. Witnesses reported a white car that may have been involved. Anyone who witnessed the crash is asked to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. Latest modelling shows the current COVID wave has peaked in SA as another school prepares to close due to teacher shortages. Brighton High will move to remote learning from tomorrow till Tuesday. The updated modelling shows the peak will now be around 5,500 cases a day, not 8,000 like originally feared. And Chief Public Health Officer Professor Nicola Spurrier says it takes into account removing masks on April 14.
When we have a public holiday and we've got that Easter long weekend, we actually see a drop in the mobility of our population. And of course, we've also got the school holidays when that will be a natural break in all the infections that are occurring in our schools at the moment. So in terms of timing, I'm quite happy with that.
The federal government rejects claims Australia is playing catch-up when it comes to our defence capabilities. Australia will develop hypersonic missiles with the help of the US and Britain as part of the AUKUS arrangement. The move is designed to counter the increasing military threat from China and Russia. Home Affairs Minister Karen Andrews says we simply need to keep up with new technology.
I don't think it's fair to say that we're so far behind at all, because we have been developing capability for our defence forces now, particularly over the last few years as we've become aware of the extent of the threat, particularly in our region here.
The Sydney Opera House will join international landmarks like the Eiffel Tower, Golden Gate Bridge and Machu Picchu when it receives the world's highest engineering accolade. The American Society of Civil Engineers will hand out the honour. A digital plaque will be presented to the Opera House Trust. Bobby Rydell has died at the age of 79. Reports say it was not COVID-related. The one-time teen idol sold over 25 million records and appeared in movies as well.
The one and only Bobby Rydell!
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. The first Brisbane footballer to reach the 50-game milestone in the AFLW has been voted the best and fairest for 2022.
E. Bates, 3 votes. And I declare the 2022 AFL Women's Best and Fairest is Emily Bates from the Brisbane Lions Football Club.
Audio there thanks to Fox. Crow Star and Hatchard came up just short, finishing on 20 votes. Kangaroo Ash Riddell and Crow Ebony Marinoff finished equal third on 18 votes. Australia's tour of Pakistan has wrapped up with a 3-wicket win in the standalone T20 match in Lahore. Out-of-form captain Aaron Finch hit 55 off 45 balls to help Australia reel in the 163-run target with 5 balls to spare. Finch says he's had plenty of support from those around him while his position was in the spotlight.
Everyone sort of can seem to panic at times, especially when as players get a little bit older, people panic a little bit quicker, but the support that I've had from the players and the coaching staff and everyone's been fantastic.
To soccer, Manchester City's held off a determined Atletico Madrid to record a crucial 1-0 lead in the first leg of their quarter-final tie. The winner coming in the 70th minute. Big goal, that audio thanks to Optus. There was one other game this morning, Liverpool 3-1 winners against Benfica. And Tiger Woods has declared he's ready to play in this week's US Masters and believes he can win the major. The 5-time winner hasn't played on the tour since his horror crash early last year. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Win an incredible Henley Beach home plus $1 million cash in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
At Port Adelaide, a truck has stopped before the train underpass on Hack Street near Old Port Road, causing delays. West Hindmarsh drainage works continue. Port Road near South Road heading outbound, and slow going at Darlington this morning. It's around the Flagstaff Road upgrade area near the South Road intersection. Busy Grand Junction Road, Florence Avenue to Main North Road with cameras Yorktown Road, Elizabeth Park, Red Bank Lakes Road, Kangaroo Flat. Entries for your chance to live mortgage-free for a year close soon. See an Aussie broker today. For full T's and C's, visit aussie.com.au. Australian credit licence 246786. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
When glass breaks, call the experts at O'Brien.
O'Brien. 23 for your Wednesday, partly cloudy tomorrow 24, then mostly sunny on Friday and 26. Right now it's 17 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. Check out National Tiles' all-new Italian and Spanish floor tiles on our website now. Your new home or renovation will look absolutely stunning in any one of the 25 all-new European floor tiles. Currently available for immediate delivery, but you'll have to be quick. These all-new stunning European floor tiles are walking out the door. So rush to order online or in-store at National Tiles now.
So now you know about the camel who shot the Explorer. You also know how to switch and save with Automasters. Logbook servicing, repairs, brakes, aircon and more. Call 1300 Automasters. Great service guaranteed.
Visit 202greenhill.com.au and donate to cancer accommodation, research, prevention and support this April.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 9 behind closed doors is not too far away. We're giving away some Gomersal wines as well. Getting some very interesting stories come through from people that have been subjects of complaints before. If you've got one for us, however well it turned out, you might win yourself some Gomersal wines this morning.
Can you read them all out?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, some slight editing, but yeah,
none of them should be referred to ICAC.
No, I don't think we'll get us in too much trouble. We might get referred to a complaint for referring to complaints, but anyway, we'll get to that. The inspiration for this, of course, front page of the Tiser today. The subject is a treehouse that was being built by a father in the Marion Council area. It was a semi-built treehouse, we should say. It looks like a pretty robust piece of construction on a tree. It's been ordered to be taken down. There's been some complaints because it didn't sort of fit the parameters of what a treehouse should be. It's slightly too large. The Mayor of the City of Marion, Chris Hanna, joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Mayor Hanna, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning. Hi there.
Is this a bit of a mountain out of a molehill, Mayor?
Well, look, on the one hand, I think the idea of anyone building a treehouse for their kids is fantastic, and everyone would rather see kids out on a treehouse rather than with their nose in front of a screen, right? But you would know very well that there have to be rules and regulations about building stuff. And the fact is that there's a rule for cubby houses and tree houses, as well as sheds and swimming pools and everything else.
Why?
Well,
is this a sort of thin end of the wedge argument? Are there fears that if this cubby house is allowed to run unchecked, that we might see a sort of outbreak of Soweto-style shantytown construction across the Marion area?
Well, councils all over Adelaide have a line that has to be addressed. When you go over that line, you have to put in a development application, whether it's a shed or a swimming pool or an extension to your house or anything else. So the regulations, and bearing in mind that state government sets all the planning rules, but the regulations say that up to 5 square metres, it's exempt. You don't have to put in an application, you don't have to do anything. So if somebody knows that and they want to build a tree house, they can go to their, absolutely knock themselves out doing it. That's 2.5
what if they don't know
metres by 2 metres.
What if they don't know that and they just build it and they get a little bit excited to the tune of, 90 mil or whatever?
What's happened in this case is neighbours have complained, basically. Now, if it had been in the backyard, maybe they wouldn't have complained. And Marion Council inspectors don't go driving around, looking for people to bother. But of course, the council staff act on complaints received and have to do something about it. So when something
do you have to? Do you have to? Can you just say to the person on the phone, get a life? Sorry to cut you off, Mayor. Can you just say to the person on the phone, mate, get a life? Like, it's a kid's cubby house. We're just not going to worry about this one.
The problem is...
I reckon you could draw it beyond this cubby house.
I mean, what if it was 10 metres by 10 metres? What if it covered the entire front lawn?
Well, it's not.
You would agree with me that you have to draw the line somewhere. I think you would, really. At your place, you wouldn't want the neighbour building a viewing platform on your, just next to your boundary fence.
It's not a viewing platform. What are they looking into?
No, but my point is that there are rules to follow. And if the rules are followed, nobody gets hurt. There's no right to complain. If it had been that much smaller, so if the bloke had checked out what the rules were, done it according to the rules, and the neighbours phoned up the council would have said, get a life.
Mm.
You know what I mean? If it's been done within the rules, there's nobody should be complaining.
Does the council sort of does arbitrate or work with the builder of the cubby house in this instance to try and come up with a solution, or is it simply just tear it down?
I mean, they have been in discussion with staff, but the fact is, if it's of a certain size, it needs a building application. So the council staff, whose job it is to enforce rules, can't just say, "Oh, look, you're a decent bloke. We'll just ignore the rules this time," because that's not a system. That's just,
anarchy.
That's what happens in other countries. But fortunately, we do have some planning rules in Adelaide, and it's balancing the rights of a person to put up a cubby house with what the neighbours want as well. That's what all the planning rules are about. It's getting the right balance.
So if they lopped off a square metre, would it be all right?
Well, if it was within the 5 square metres, there's no cause for complaint.
Okay, so you can just do a reno maybe on the cubby house.
Well, could be.
Do you need a DA for a
guy
reno?
knows from the photos. It looks like this guy knows what he's doing, so possibly he could adapt it. And I mean, that's what the conversation with council staff should be about. How can we make this work? It's not about just trying to block everyone from doing anything. It's about having a conversation. Well, what are the rules? How do I comply with the rules? Let's make it work.
Excellent stuff. Mayor Chris Hanna, thank you for joining us this morning on 5AA.
16 minutes to 9. There's a lot of text coming through on this subject. I'll just broadly fire them all onto the people don't agree with the council sort of banner. I think that might be simpler. 024808 1395 is the number.
Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? Well, this is the question that keeps a lot of people up.
What next?
Just sleepless. What next?
Where
will it end? Where will it end? And
we'll have medium density cubby houses.
Sao Paulo, Mexico City, Kailicha, the huge shanty town near Cape Town. This is how these things start.
Yeah.
And I think we should, the price of eternal vigilance is 11-year-old Delilah not being allowed to play in this extravagance that her maniac stepdad has constructed.
We have some Gomersall wines to give away. We're going to be inviting people to share their own stories of when they've been the subject of a complaint. 8223 is the number. I'll just read a couple of texts first. Some of these I really struggle to get my hand around. Someone said, our neighbours are racehorse trainers at Wollonga Hill. The gentleman came to our place and asked my partner if she could please put a rug on her horse as the colour of the horse spooks the racehorses. That's a pretty good one, I reckon. I've not heard of that before.
Wow.
Spooky horse colour?
Like bulls.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Like a red rug to a racehorse.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know there was a certain colour they didn't like. Now, we've got a few others coming through on 0480 1395, like Sue, who says, I used to be a postie, and the day that you didn't get a complaint was a bonus. Good on you, Sue. Lino in Paravista's on the line. Morning, Lino.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for taking my call, you guys. I'll let you have a bit of a laugh. 10, 15 years ago, I wanted to change the veranda, so I put the plans in the council and everything and built this 85 square metre veranda. My house is facing north. The idea was, great, I can put solar panels on top and do it, So we did the plan, we started doing it. Also, I get a knock on the door, and the guy said, I'm from the council, I'm inspecting your veranda. I said, oh, are you? Okay, and he goes, we had a complaint. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, one of your neighbours is complaining, she's on the east side of you, she's complaining that she's not getting the sun in the morning because you built a huge veranda. I said, well, hang on a minute. I'm in the west and she's in the east. When did the sun started changing around?
It's difficult to pass that one. Thank you, Lino. Paul in Modbury Heights, what did someone complain about with regard to you?
Good morning, Will. Good morning, ISO Penbo. Look, about 12 months ago, I built myself a nice wood-fired pizza oven and barbecue, right up your alley there, Penbo.
Sounds
to make the nice wood oven pizzas and all that kind of stuff. And part of the procedure is to burn the oven in. So you've got to do it slowly, and that creates a lot of smoke and all of this kind of thing. Anyway, I've done that successfully. Go to check the mail the next day, and there's this little pamphlet in my letterbox from the Environment Protection Agency on the rules of backyard burning and big circles around no backyard burning and all of this kind of thing. And I'm going, hang on a minute. So every time I light up my pizza oven to cook pizza, I'm paranoid about which neighbour it is who's going to come knocking on my door or bringing the cops or the fireys.
Oh, the pizza complaint in Modbury Heights. That doesn't sound like much fun. Thank you,
You know,
Paul.
there's actually like a genuinely sort of there's a element of human sadness to all this, and it's almost like the people who do the complaining are worried that other people are having fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there'd be someone in Marion going, oh, that kid's out there on that cubby house, and in Lino's case, oh, they're having people round for pizzas again.
Yeah. Yeah. How
Like,
dare
good,
they?
good.
We've got another Paul on the line, this one in West Lakes. Morning to you, Paul.
Oh, good morning, gentlemen. Hope you're well. I had a run-in with the local council who are, at the moment, this same council are probably as popular as Vlad Putin. They want to fill in the duck ponds at West Lakes, so the residents aren't real happy with them. But a few years ago, we got a knock on the door 8 o'clock Monday morning accusing me of chopping down a tree that was on council property, which is right next door to our house. And of course, I had no idea what the hell they were talking about. The guy was basically calling me a liar and saying, I did it, because what had happened was all the wood from the tree was stacked up against my fence. So it's fairly obvious I must have done it. There's 25 houses in the street, so it's just assumed that because it's next to my house, the council believe that I did it. So,
did they ever find the culprit, Paul?
Yeah, I asked them, have you checked with anyone in the street? I had to go right up, because of course they're complaining about me. I had to go to some top dog and tell them what I thought of them. And anyway, in the end, one of the neighbours chopped the tree down because he was selling his house and he's across the other side of the road. But if the real estate guy told him, if you chop the tree down, I know you're not allowed to, but you'll have water views and you'll sell your property for a lot more money. So,
that's sensational. The old dodgy real estate agent. You know that tree over there? It's costing you thousands. Scott and Glenunga, good morning.
Good morning, David. Good morning, Will. How are you going?
Good, mate.
Good, thanks, Scott.
This is a neighbour of mine, but I've got to set the scene. This particular neighbour, she complained about everything. I mean, when I lived at Seacliff, even 50 metres either side of our house, there was no standing. The rest of the street was no standing on the other side. That was because she complained to the council long and hard about it. But the main thing was she went and knocked on our next-door neighbour's door and said, your German Shepherd is keeping me awake, he's barking, he's out of control, etc., etc. And the neighbour said to her, well, it must be the smell that's keeping you awake because he's been dead and buried for 3 years.
The barking dead dog, the ghost complaint.
The ghost of the German
Yeah, they
Shepherd.
need the Ghostbusters, not the council. Gloria, good morning.
Morning, boys. How are you?
Good, Gloria.
Good, thanks, Gloria.
Now, I've got a goodie. So I'm a mobile dog groomer. I went to a job once. Young girl said to me, can you clean my dog up for me because he's all knotty and dirty and everything. And I did him, handed him back to the mother because she had to go to work. Later on, got a phone call from her complaining because I'd made a dog look too neat and he smelled too good.
Oh, that's unfortunate. You did your job too well, Gloria. That's not. We don't accept that around these parts.
Exactly.
How bizarre. We might take one more. Steve in O'Halloran Hill, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we?
Good, mate.
Good, thanks, Steve.
Mate, I had a few mates over for a bit of a jam band practice, and we had it in my lounge room. And I had the drums. I was playing the drums. I had them set up next to the window. Good idea. And had the everything was shut. And next thing I hear a tap on the window, and I turned around and opened the curtain, and there was 2 cops there. And I was like, oh, no worries. So I went to the door and I said, oh, yeah, you've had a complaint, mate. And they ended up coming in, listening to 3 songs and ate all our party pies.
Music couldn't have been that bad then, Steve.
Yeah,
What was on your set list, mate?
We played them a couple of... We played Eagle Rock, Hotel California, and Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh, that sounds exceptional. Good on you, Steve. Who do we like for the Gomersaw wines?
Oh, you pick.
I'm inclined to go back to our caller that had the swearing cockatoo.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I think we'll do that. Our very first caller through on the complaints list. We'll give them the Gomersaw wines. Nothing pairs with FIVEaa like modern gin and Riesling giveaway today from Gomersaw Wines. Big thanks to them for getting on board and supporting it. It is 8 minutes to 9. We're going to check traffic and have behind closed doors in just a moment. Traffic, thanks to the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. We can win an incredible Henley Beach home plus $1 million cash in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
At Port Adelaide, a truck is stopped before the train underpass on Hack Street near Old Port Road. It's causing delays there. McDonald Park intersection upgrade works continue. Heasley Road near Curtis Road, and West Hindmarsh drainage works on Port Road near South Road heading outbound continue. 1 lane closed, speeds at 40. Keep your eye out for cameras. Goodman Road, Elizabeth South, Hancock Road, Surrey Downs. Enjoy your favourite Mexican food with Guzmani Gomez and save. Score yourself burritos and bowls for just $9.90. Yes, just $9.90 when you order via the GYG app. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Thanks Frydenberg and ScoMo for the $250. That works out to $1.60 a week over the next 3 years. Tell them they're dreaming. Vote 1, United Australia Party. Authorised by Clive Palmer for the United Australia Party, Brisbane.
Fresh nuts, mouth-watering chocolates, and eye-popping Easter gifts. G'day, I'm Brett Charlesworth, and there are 3 irresistible reasons to include Charlesworth nuts on your Easter shopping list. If you're a connoisseur looking for the absolute best and freshest nuts and can taste the difference, then give us a try. Share them with your guests or give a Charlesworth Easter gift and watch their eyes light up. 11 family-owned South Aussie stores, or shop online right now and get it delivered. Why Charlesworth? Because fresh nuts taste better.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. At Lynn Andrews Real Estate, we've seen a lot of change in the property market over the last 50 years, but one thing remains constant: our passion to help people invest in the future, to build strong property portfolios in commercial and residential real estate. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share with you. We are here to help. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
Good schnitzels are everywhere, but it's hard to find a schnitzel so big, crunchy and tasty. Survivors have warned, whatever you do, don't eat the day before. St Kilda Beach Hotel schnitzels are cut by the resident butcher. They're rolled in the crispiest crumbs, then deep fried to perfection, all in-house. Take the kids to St Kilda Playground, then cross the road to the St Kilda Hotel for the schnitzel of a lifetime. There's a table waiting for you at the St Kilda Beach Hotel.
It's okay to want more, which is why more and more people choose Mawson Lakes Volkswagen to service their car, especially Volkswagen owners. At Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, we offer state-of-the-art servicing, complimentary loan cars, next-day servicing, and breakfast or lunch is on us. Why? Because when you're Adelaide's newest Volkswagen dealer, you want to give more. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city. Visit mawsonlakesvw.com.au and book your service today.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Help create a home for South Australians impacted by cancer. Visit 202greenhill.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5 minutes to 9, and it's time to go behind closed doors thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions. Looking for subcontract drivers right now. Call 13 13 64. That's 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
And welcome back to 5AA Breakfast. And David Penberthy, welcome back to you too.
Yeah, g'day, Will. How you going?
Oh, I'm really well, David.
I just did a negative rat.
You are, of course, still broadcasting from home.
I am, yeah, because every single person I know has COVID except me.
No, you haven't got it.
I haven't got it.
It is strange, that, isn't it?
Might be because I'm a journalist.
Well, it could be.
Even viruses don't like me.
No.
I think a lot of viruses don't like us, but still respect us.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Because the virus understands we've got a job to do.
That's right. I think also the virus usually doesn't care who it infects.
That's right.
In other words, the virus is totally unbiased.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes a virus might perceive that journalists aren't as unbiased as they should be.
Oh, yeah, never thought of that.
Anyway, you are broadcasting from home.
I am, and as usual, anyone watching on the game-changing 5AA live stream will notice that again I'm sitting way too close to the camera.
Yes, that's right.
Like Yoko Ono did in that episode of Absolutely Fabulous.
Yes, and the camera is for some reason positioned below you, so it's looking up at your face.
Yeah, right up my nose.
That's right, and with being too close to the camera also comes being too close to the microphone.
It's called mic technique, Will.
Yes, well, yours is causing distortion, David.
I mean that kind of fuzziness in the sound?
That's exactly right.
You got to say, though, don't you, that sort of thing shouldn't happen in this modern technological age, should it?
No, it shouldn't.
Well, hopefully it doesn't mean I'm distorting the facts.
Well, let's hope not, David.
I've probably got COVID now.
I tell you, there's nothing modern or technological about this setup. No, but it's all coming to an end tomorrow.
Well, it's
Will.
been the
I'll see
beauty
you
of
back
the live
in there.
stream. It's been quite an interesting experience watching you on the giant screen. Big congrats to Tony, who was the one who called in with the problematically the bad language cockatoo, who won the Gomersaw wine pack a little bit earlier. We are out of time on this. Where are we at? Wednesday morning. I've lost track of time and space. 6th of April. Graham Goodings is coming up, and we will catch you tomorrow morning live in the studio from 6 o'clock.